Use the discount code REDEYEBOGO. EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code REDEYEBOGO. Get the deal now. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code REDEYEBOGO. Denny's has a special appreciation for America's truck drivers. You keep the goods moving and the country running. That's why Denny's is always ready with made-to-order meals. Like the Lumberjack Slam, all your breakfast favorites in one truck-sized plate for an affordable price. Enjoy it with a cup of always fresh coffee that's as endless as the road ahead. Dine in or curbside pickup. Get your favorite diner meal and be back on the road in no time. At Denny's, it's diner time. Hours of participating restaurants may vary, subject to availability.
Every day is new breaking news, but one consistent fact is that truckers and the trucking industry shows up. And in this time of economic uncertainty, we know you deliver. That's why during the month of September through Truck Driver...
Well, good morning. 5 o'clock here, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Stick around. The full forecast and traffic are coming up in just a couple of moments. Florida police got him. The man accused of attempting to kill President Trump, registered Democrat Ryan Routh. He was arrested while trying to drive away from the former president's golf course yesterday.
Police have not released the motive, but investigators are exploring whether the suspect was upset by Trump's position on Ukraine. Records show 58-year-old Routh lived in North Carolina for most of his life before moving to Hawaii in 2018.
That's ABC's Lionel Moisey. Now, Martin County Sheriff William Snyder said Routh was not displaying a lot of emotions when police arrested him. They said, in fact, the suspected shooter was relatively calm and never asked why he was being detained. The Daily Mail also reports that Routh wrote a tweet to Trump in June of 2020. It said, "While you were my choice in 2016, I and the world hope that the President Trump would be different and better than the candidate," ending that tweet by calling Trump retarded and saying, "I will be glad when you're gone." The 76th Emmy Awards aired last night, and the show Shogun took top honors for drama. ABC's Jason Nathanson also tells us that things got a little political.
Sunday night's Emmys were light on political speeches, but there were mentions here and there. The Bear Best Supporting Actress winner, Liza Colón-Zayas, said she had a message for all the Latinas.
Keep believing and vote. Vote for your rights.
The Daily Show won Best Talk Show. Backstage host Jon Stewart referenced Sunday's apparent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
We live in a horrible moment where emotions, and I think the one rule maybe we could all benefit from in terms of engagement is no shooting.
And the cast of The West Wing reunited to honor the 25th anniversary of the show, calling today's political landscape
Utterly ridiculous.
but didn't get into specifics. Backstage at the Emmys, Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Market numbers now. It's brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Chuck Sievertson.
Strong weekly gains for the major indexes ahead of the upcoming Federal Reserve meeting, at which the central bank's expected to cut interest rates. It was the fourth winning week in the last 5. It was the 5th straight advance for the S&P 500, as it and the Dow Jones Industrial Average got close to their all-time highs. The S&P gained 30 points. The Dow up 297, and the Nasdaq added 114 points. Stocks got support from the bond market, where Treasury yields eased ahead of the Fed meeting. Utilities and industrial shares led the markets higher. Investors continued to buy up shares of big tech and semiconductor companies. Boar's Head is closing the Virginia plant tied to a deadly listeria outbreak and will also permanently discontinue production of liverwurst, the product linked to the deaths of at least 9 people in the U.S. 33,000 machinists and other workers are on strike against Boeing, overwhelmingly rejecting a proposed contract.
Stock futures are a little mixed this morning. The Dow futures are plus 81, but the S&P futures, they're plus 4. NASDAQ futures are down 10 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Good morning. We're starting out our work week in fine shape on our area roadways here. No accidents, no breakdowns, no delays to speak of in the metro. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
5:06 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. It is a Monday, September 16th. Hope you're doing well. Man, do we have a lot to talk about.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Democracy is on the ballot.
Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. We cannot allow that to happen again.
Yeah, the words of Joe Biden, Tim Walz, Kamala Harris, all describing Donald Trump. You know who also used those words? That's right. The guy who tried to kill Donald Trump, Ryan Routh. Now, here's the thing. As we talk about what went on over the weekend, you've got to think about what led up to this. Just like the assassination attempt from a couple of months ago. What led up to that? The Democrats have been talking about Donald Trump being this existential threat to democracy for, years they've been saying this. And now in the social media posts of the would-be assassin, he also used the same exact wording as Joe Biden and Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. Even Jasmine Crockett, I know that you'll be shocked by this, Jasmine Crockett, said the morning before the shooting, just a few hours before the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, this is what Jasmine Crockett said.
I talk about the fact that when we swore in finally in January, that we swore to defend against those that are coming against us, whether they are domestic or international. And right now, I feel like MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically.
All right. So for how long now? The Democrats have been saying that Republicans and Donald Trump are threats. Now, what are you supposed to do with a threat? You were supposed to eliminate the threat. So when you have this kind of violent rhetoric coming from one side of the aisle, the Democrats, then it's not real surprising that somebody who's out of his mind is going to act upon those supposed threats. Now, Sean Hannity describes what happened. Of course, we've been talking about this. You've heard the news. Hopefully, you've heard the news, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Now, there seems to be some debate over whether or not the attempted assassin, Ryan Routh, actually was able to get any shots off. Because some are saying, yes, he did. Others are saying, no, he didn't. But they may have found some cartridges where his gun was found. We'll get into all of that, but just to let you know that I know that there seems to be some contradictory reporting out there depending on who you listen to. Sean Hannity, though, describes what happened on Fox News right after it happened. He had been speaking to Donald Trump and his golfing partner right after all of this came down.
They heard pop, 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 pop. Within seconds, the Secret Service pounced on the president, covered him. You had snipers with tripods. They knew the direction where the shots had been fired, and they had eyes on the location where the shots had been fired.
So Donald Trump ends up, and he's on, I guess, the fifth hole on the golf course. And he was on the fifth hole of the golf course. And the shots were fired. Now, again, we don't know if those were the shots fired by the gun of Ryan Routh, if there were any, or the Secret Service. But Trump ends up being tackled. He is secured. Again, the shooter begins to run. So Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw says it was really intense, but thankfully, obviously, no one was hurt. And there was a witness as well that saw Ryan Routh, and he got into a car.
Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great.
So I guess the guy, what this Routh did was he stuck the gun through the chain link fence. There's a bunch of bushes surrounding the course. And so he sneaks into the bushes around the course and waited for Donald Trump.
That witnessed the incident flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of.
So, number one, how did this guy know that Donald Trump was going to be on the golf course at exactly that time? I don't know. That's number one. Number two, why would he be carrying, if this was what he wanted to do, why would he be carrying ceramic tile in a backpack? Anybody have any idea on that? Like listen, if there's one thing I don't know about is attempted assassinations of presidents. But what I will tell you is that didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, he did carry a couple of backpacks with ceramic tile for whatever reason. And now the question is, who is this attempted assassin, Ryan Routh? Now, I'm seeing some stories where he was able to get off some shots. Others, I think in reality, Secret Service are saying that they saw the gun pointing at Donald Trump through those bushes. They fired at him before he was able to get any shots off. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is going to be an investigation, a long investigation. And we'll find out more and more as the day continues to unfold. Chris and Matt and Brian will all have the news as it continues to update throughout the day, along with Joan Jones and Ken Weaver as well. But this guy had a really long rap sheet. He was convicted in 2002 for possessing a weapon of mass destruction. There was some sort of a big standoff with police. He was also hit with a felony possession of stolen goods, misdemeanor offenses as well, including carrying a concealed weapon. He was involved in a hit and run. He was involved with resisting law enforcement. Just a long, long plethora of priors. As far as politics goes, I was surprised by this. He says that apparently he supported for Donald Trump. He voted for Donald Trump in 2016. Yeah, he supported Trump in 2016, but then something happened between 2016 and 2020. You know, a lot of people voted for Donald Trump, and then they realized that they liked Donald Trump. You know, they may have held their nose, but they voted for him because they really hated Hillary Clinton. This guy voted for Donald Trump in 2016, and then he grew to hate Donald Trump. Most people hated him, but voted for him, and then they grew to like him over time. This guy was just the opposite. He grew to hate Donald Trump, and by 2020, he was spewing all kinds of vitriol at the former president. According to his often updated X feed, Ralph went from voting for Trump in 2016 to supporting Tulsi Gabbard in 2020 to demanding Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy form a unity team here in 2024. FEC filings show him donating to everyone from Tulsi Gabbard to Andrew Yang to Elizabeth Warren to Tom Steyer in the 2020 Democrat primary. So this guy seems confused on a number of different fronts. I've got a little bit more on this straight ahead. Thank the Lord that Donald Trump on this Monday morning is okay. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
So far, so good on your Monday morning Nashville roadways. No accidents, no breakdowns to report thus far. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay. Partly sunny today and a high of 87 degrees. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There is a lot of stories to cover. The attempted assassination of Donald Trump, one of many stories we have for you today. Right now, talking about the would-be assassin, Ryan Routh, the man who has been arrested for trying to assassinate Donald Trump. Social media quotes clearly that this is a guy who was supportive of Democrats most recently. In an April 22nd post on Twitter or X, Routh criticized Donald Trump, saying, "Democracy is on the ballot, and we cannot afford to lose." That's what he said in 2022. Now, what did I open up this segment with? I opened up this segment with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz using exactly that same rhetoric.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Democracy is on the ballot.
Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. We cannot allow that to happen again.
So listen, this would-be assassin, again, using the same violent rhetoric as those three: Joe Biden, Tim Walz, and Kamala Harris. Tweeting out in 2022, democracy is on the ballot. We cannot afford to lose, according to reports. Now, on the same day, that April 22nd, when Joe Biden was still running for re-election, this guy urged the 81-year-old president to focus his campaign on preserving America's democracy and freedom. He also accused Donald Trump of wanting to make Americans slaves under a master. Democracy, he tweeted out, is on the ballot and we cannot lose. He wrote a similar slogan commonly used by President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. We cannot afford to fail. He continued, the world is counting on us to show the way. So he's literally quoting Democrats and their talking points. I got to ask you, how many times has Joe Biden said that democracy is on the ballot? Same with Kamala Harris and all of these other surrogates and Democrats. They have said this ad nauseum.
This MAGA threat is a threat to the brick and mortar of our democratic institutions. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. As we begin this election year, we must be clear. Democracy is on the ballot.
You know, what's also interesting is this guy, a supporter of Joe Biden. Do you know that he flew all the way to Ukraine to volunteer to fight the Russians as an American volunteer? He did. He was interviewed by Newsweek Romania in a 10-minute interview. You can find that interview on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. This is part of what he said.
56 from the U.S., from North Carolina originally, so I live in Hawaii now, so flew all the way from Hawaii here. So the question as far as why I'm here, to me, you know, a lot of the other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is about good versus evil.
So now just to point out, though, the inconsistency, he blasts Donald Trump. He calls Donald Trump a threat to democracy and all that. He was so passionate about defending Ukraine, but it was Joe Biden's weakness that emboldened Vladimir Putin to go into Ukraine in the first place. So Donald Trump is out there saying, no, we shouldn't be in Ukraine. Donald Trump has been out there saying that he would end the Russia-Ukraine war first day. Now, I don't know if he's would actually be able to do that, but that's what the former president is saying. They also say that Donald Trump's would-be assassin, Ryan Ralph, gave money to Democrats and Act Blue roughly 20 times. So this guy, the guy that tried to kill Donald Trump over the weekend, allegedly, clearly he's a Democrat. Clearly he's confused. Clearly he is using the same violent rhetoric as Democrats have all along. Now, how about the reaction from the Democrats? Because you would think that they would be a little circumspect, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you think that they would be just a tad circumspect after yet another assassination attempt on Donald Trump? Listen to this reaction. Rachel Vindman, wife of Alexander Vindman and constant Donald Trump critic, both of them, tweeted this out. No ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon. Democrat operative and Harris ally Mark Elias tweeted this out after the assassination attempt and the press conference that followed. Republicans want to subvert the elections in November. Number one, make it harder for you to vote. Number two, they want to harass election officials and challenge voters. Number three, they want to prevent accurate and timely election certification. So again, that is Mark Elias, a Democrat operative and Harris ally. And somebody, by the way, Mark Elias, very closely aligned and affiliated with Hillary Clinton as well. And so, again, you have the demonizing of the former president. I love how Tim Walz said this, apparently, hours after the attempted assassination.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are. So it isn't much else. Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes. They're going to do all that.
And this was Lester Holt.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
I mean, just a small sampling of what we're seeing out there. And really, it seems like what the Democrats are doing, and folks on social media are doing, obviously, is they're trying to demonize Donald Trump. They're trying to remind folks the reason why this happened. It wasn't because this guy, Ryan Ralph, was utilizing the same rhetoric as Joe Biden and Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, and he was inspired to go after Donald Trump because of that rhetoric and the fact that they're always saying Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. No, what they're trying to do is they're actually trying to blame Donald Trump himself and J.D. Vance, too. It is absolutely sickening. 522 on Nashville's Morning News. Hey, everybody, she's back. And I can't wait to hear why Joan Jones has been gone for the last couple of days. Joan, what's coming up in the news at 5:30?
Oh, hey there, Dan. This is where I speak, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we'll tell you what an eyewitness did that led police right to President Trump's new would-be assassin. Also, a wild ride for a kid in Ohio. All of that and what happened to me over the weekend. That's coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 5:23 on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here. And how do you know who you can trust financially? You know that we've seen roughly 30 to 40 lawsuits against insurance companies these days for trying to sell inappropriate deferred annuities to our elderly. Now, here's the deal. These investments are often pushed on TV, dinner workshops, radio, and they've often got crazy high expenses, pay high commissions, get low returns, and are typically hard to get out of. Doesn't make any sense, actually, these deferred annuities. Paul Winkler's been telling you that for years. This is, though, sadly happening, and older folks are getting ripped off. Now, don't let that happen to you or your parents or grandparents. Call my guy, Paul Winkler, and his team. This is the guy and the folks that I trust. And when you sit down with Paul and his team, you're going to realize why. They are truly looking out for your best interest. Now, I do have to disclose that I'm paid for these ads, but I'm also a real client of Paul Winkler's. I have been for roughly a decade. Now, Paul Winkler is somebody that I trust with my money. I've been working with him for years now, 10 years now. Check out Paul Winkler. He's on the web, paulwinkler.com. Great website, paulwinkler.com. 615-851-1950. 615-851-1950 for Paul Winkler. Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, californiaclosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, californiaclosets.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
5:30 here, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at 71 degrees now, and it'll be sunny and around 90 later today. Well, the FBI has taken the investigative lead on the assassination attempt on President Trump yesterday. They have 58-year-old Ryan Routh behind bars. They have his vehicle, and they're scouring through the details of his life. But this investigation may look very different if it wasn't for an eyewitness.
A bystander spots an individual coming out of the tree line. They get into a black Nissan vehicle, and they speed off. That person had the presence of mind to take a photo, take a picture of this individual and their vehicle, most importantly, because that had on it critical information about the person's license plate.
That's ABC's Jack Date. Now, Routh's son, his name is Ryan Routh, make that his son. Oren told the Daily Mail that neither he nor his dad like the former president, but he said his dad is not a violent person. Other news of the day, TikTok is facing a critical hearing in Washington today. The Chinese owner is fighting a law that would ban the app in the U.S. ABC's Rhiannon Alley has that story.
TikTok and its parent company ByteDance facing an ultimatum: sell the app or be banned. Lawyers for the social media giant are scheduled to argue in court today that the law that could ban the app is unconstitutional. It comes less than 5 months after President Biden signed a bill into law giving ByteDance until January to find a new owner for TikTok. With more than 170 million users, TikTok has become one of the biggest players in the social media landscape, with everyone from influencers to politicians taking part.
And an unusual call for police in Bedford, Ohio, when the family of an 8-year-old girl noticed that she was gone and so was their Nissan Rogue.
He did advise the driver appeared to be small in stature, and she should be in that vehicle driving.
That call courtesy of broadcastify.com. Doorbell cameras revealed the girl got into the SUV and drove more than 10 miles to a Target store. Police found her shopping with $400 that she had in her possession. Well, stock futures mixed, with Dow futures up 87 and S&P futures plus 2. The NASDAQ futures are down 34. That's the latest news. Stick around for traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 5:33 on WTN. Listen, friends, if you need anything for your home, go to my place, DT McCall's. Now, they've been doing business with Middle Tennesseans for over 100 years. We call that generational growth, because they do it all at DT McCall's. Great value, outstanding merchandise, and terrific customer service. Now, you know that I did buy my oven there a while ago at DT McCall's. It was really easy. I went to their website, dtmccalls.com, and found exactly what I wanted at the price I wanted to pay. They also deliver for free and haul away the old stuff. Now, this is a great American company and a great Tennessee company that has indoor and outdoor furniture, appliances, kitchen appliances, and all the best brands. Financing options are also fair and reasonable. They know that times are tough right now, so they're going to do what they can to give you every opportunity to get you what you need. Now, remember, again, at DT McCall's, they have as many of their items made right here in Tennessee as possible. Because they love Tennessee, they like to keep the dollars local. They've got 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lafayette, Lebanon, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
So far, so good this Monday morning, headed into the metro. No accidents or breakdowns or slowdowns to disrupt your commute in. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537.
There's our healthy hunk right there.
What's that?
There's our healthy hunk right there. Damn Mandis, everybody.
Healthy hunk.
That's what the spot just said, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. They clearly didn't see me trying to get out of bed this morning. Anyway, hey, buddy, Joan Jones is back.
Yes, sir.
Johnny B's here as well. All right, so Joan, you want to tell the class where you've been for the last couple of days? Because I'm just going to be honest with you, Joan.
Yeah.
More than one person accused me of already running you off after just a few days on the air with me.
I worked in radio for a long time. It takes more than Dan Mandis to run me off.
I got to step up my game. Anyway, so what happened? Now, can people see that your arm on the Super Talk TV, your arm is in a cast?
Yeah, cast and a sling and all of that. So I was playing a game of tug of war with my dog. No kidding. She's probably 55 pounds. And I don't remember if it was her that let go or me that let go, but I fell backward and I put my arm out to brace myself. Only I went down hard and broke both the bones in my arm.
Oh, Lord. You broke the bones in your arm.
And it was one of those like really grotesque breaks where when you look at it afterwards, you go, my hand shouldn't be there. So, yeah, they had to do all kinds of terrible things to reset it. Ooh. And, yeah, it was awful.
Did you get any drugs?
So, funny story about that. They gave me morphine when I walked in right away. I mean, obviously, I was in just a ton of pain. And I had a nerve block, and they gave me drugs while I was there. And I was put to sleep for a while they did work on it. But when I left, they said, well, the pharmacy has your prescription. Well, I'd love to call out the pharmacy because to this day, it's still on delay.
Are you kidding?
No. This happened Wednesday night. The painkillers are still on delay. So
are we allowed to ask what pain did you get, like Vicodin? Did you get the good stuff, Joan?
It was
Can you share?
Yeah, it was hydro and oxycodone.
All right.
They gave me a prescription for both of them. And obviously I didn't
Johnny wants to know if you'll share.
He does not want to know that.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. There is possibility. So, they say there are drug shortages, and that's why sometimes we cannot.
Really?
Yeah, I've had trouble getting some prescriptions myself.
Yeah. I know that I've shared this before, but when we cleaned out my mom's apartment after she passed away, I could have retired on the drugs that we found in her home. I mean, it was like I had to take a massive grocery bag and throw all of them into the grocery bag and take them to the pharmacy and just like drop them off.
Wow.
Because that's how much there were.
Wow.
It was insane. And yeah, I said to my wife, I could actually retire if I found some guy down the street and sold all this to him. I chose not to because I'm an upstanding citizen.
Good for you.
Had I kept any of that, though, I could have given you some, Joan.
That you thought about that makes you not quite the upstanding citizen you think you are.
All right, so let's talk about your dog. Let's talk about your dog. Now, they is said 55-pound a dog who apparently, so who won in the tug of war? Was it you or the dog?
Oh, I don't remember. I think she won. Yeah, her name is Hazel, and she's just the sweetest thing. But she likes to play rough.
Well, see, I've always noticed too, big dogs, both big dogs and small dogs are not aware of their size.
Yeah.
Because I've seen big dogs act like puppies. Like
she tries to sit on my lap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there was one time when I had a Yorkie, and this Yorkie was at a dog park and started picking a fight with like 3 big dogs.
Yep.
And I picked him up and said, "Are you nuts? Are you out of your mind?"
But a lot of times the big dogs are afraid of the little ones because they can get them in the throat, which is,
And age also has a lot to do with it too. They say that a younger dog, despite its size, will always be subservient to the older dog.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah.
You know what Bandit did to me one time? I'm taking that, Bandit's my dog.
Yeah.
And I'm taking that stupid dog for a walk. And it was like kind of icy. There was still some ice out there. He starts running after Damn Rabbit. And I'm just like holding on for dear life. And eventually I fell onto the ice.
Yeah.
Because of Bandit. I should have just let him go. Because I would have no idea where he would end up. But I mean, that we all have dog calamities.
Oh, yeah.
K9 calamities. Let's go to the phones.
Super.
Hey, well, glad you're back.
Thank you.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
Are you glad to be back? Or
I am
like
very glad to be back. I'm typing with one hand. This is very interesting.
You're typing with one hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an interesting morning. I can't even sit. I can't even get into this seat that I sit in because it's very tall. So I had to bring a step stool with me today.
Oh, my goodness.
It's become the property of the dust-encrusted news corner.
I love that.
It'll be a dust-encrusted step stool here within a couple of days.
It
sure will.
Yeah.
So when the alarm went off this morning, were you like hating life and like, oh, man, I remember what it was like before I had to do this?
It did cross my mind.
I knew it.
My mind.
See, I knew it.
Yeah. But I got out of that bed a half hour early so I could be here and get things going.
Now, inquiring minds want to know, is it your left hand?
It's my left hand. See, that's the blessing in all of this. It's my left hand. I can still use my right hand, my dominant hand. I can drive.
Okay.
I can point that finger at you.
Well, listen, with me, all you need is a middle finger. Just ask Jay. All right. Hey, can I talk about Gwen Walsh for a moment?
Who? Yeah. Oh, yes.
Wife of Tim Walsh.
Unhinged.
So she Johnny needs some audio. She had an absolutely cringeworthy speech over the weekend. Here's just a smattering.
But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page. You like that?
Now, what she's doing is she's sort of, what would you call this? It's like she's waving to somebody over her head, like she's turning a page.
Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page. Oh, pretty good. Do it again. We're going to turn the page.
Right.
And we're going to turn the page. All right, so I'm going to be watching you.
So...
Yeah, I bet you are.
If you didn't hear, they want to turn.
We are turning the page.
Turning the page. Got it. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
52 days. And
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this the same woman that left her windows open during the riots so that she could smell the burn?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay.
Smell the burning rubber.
Yeah.
Wasn't that nice?
I think her brain is a little burned like that rubber. Now, I want you to listen though very closely. Listen very closely.
2 days and we are turning the page. 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump.
Now, can I just ask you guys a question? Does that remind you of anything? Just, again, listen very closely.
Turning the page. 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump.
Does that remind you two of anything?
Howard Dean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I went in a different direction.
Oh.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
She sounds like the Wicked Witch to me. Try this. Try this. Just go with me here. Listen to this.
52 Trump, and your little dog, too.
Does that not sound exactly like the Wicked Witch?
It's like the same tone and everything.
It is? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not just me.
No, you nailed it.
Yeah, you did.
Why do I feel like I'm being patronized?
Howard Dean and the Screech thing, it came to mind for me.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I was thinking of
Because
Howard.
it's in the political arena, not the witch arena.
I think that Gwen Waltz is the Wicked Witch. I actually... Is she a school teacher?
Oh.
And I hope not.
Just the way that she was doing the whole turn the page, say it with me now, turn the page. It sounded just weird.
Yeah, it does.
It sounded very bizarre.
It sounds insane.
Well, she does. She sounds... She sounds like she would be married to Tim Walz.
Yeah, she does.
That's what she sounds like.
They both sound certifiably nuts.
Yeah, and they still let her speak, which is, really bizarre. Anyway, so Tim Walz married to Gwen Walz, and you two feel like she sounded more like Howard Dean than the Wicked Witch. I just want to get everybody on record.
Well, now, having heard that Wicked Witch soundbite next to hers,
yes,
I think it's very clear that she sounds a lot like the Wicked Witch.
I worked very hard on this.
Bye, Donald Trump, and your little dog, too.
That's going to be stuck in my head all day, man.
All of us. Thanks.
Yes.
Well, I am curious as what the super texters think.
What do they
now
think?
Mandis is going to have a crush on her. No, I am not going to have a crush on Gwen Waltz. Trust me on that one. See, I can never bring up the Wicked Witch ever again because of that ill-fated monologue that we did.
Yes.
I don't feel like I should be held accountable for that. I was probably on some allergy medication.
I think you just, you admitted on the air that you found her attractive.
You said that?
Yeah, you did.
I think it was more than allergy medication.
I'm being taken out of context. That's what it is. I'm being taken out of context.
I mean, even without the witch makeup, if you ever saw that actress, she was scary. And Ken Weaver thought that it was a man playing a woman for his entire life.
Can we somehow just make the agreement that we're never going to bring this up again?
Well, yeah, I didn't bring it up.
Well,
yeah,
no, you brought up, who did? Did I bring it up?
You did.
Super texter. You
Damn super texters.
They lure you in every time.
They do. They lure me in every time. By the way, somebody apologized for being snarky to me last week.
Did they?
Yep.
That's good.
Well, listen, I'll take the apologies.
Sure.
John, you got one for me?
Oh, I'm sorry I brought up this again, but even though I didn't bring it up.
No, you actually owe me another apology.
About what?
Oh.
What did I do this time?
What happened?
It's not you, it's your wife.
My wife.
Your wife.
What'd she do?
So you, Glenna made some Bandit treats for Bandit, and we like to just sort of give him, some at a time, not the whole bag.
Well, Dan, therein lies the problem. As Glenna states, and I tell her, you need to tell people this before you give them treats.
Yes.
But she said, really only give them one. Because she goes, it's like the jerky. It's not a meal. It's like a little snack.
Well, here's what happened. Okay. Just like Lay's potato chips, apparently Bandit could not eat just one. Amy and I go to the movies.
Uh-oh.
That damn dog had jumped up onto the counter.
Oh, no.
And grabbed the bag.
Oh,
we come home to all of the treats gone and bag debris like everywhere. Now realize that the bag is like a brown paper bag.
Yeah.
So it's like rolled up like you do with the brown paper bag. That dog destroyed the bag. Absolutely destroyed the bag to get to those treats.
And he probably destroyed his stomach in the...
I'm not going to lie.
I'm not
going to lie.
I'm sure he left more than that.
He did, actually.
Is it time to call the carpet cleaning company again?
Zero res.
Yes.
Hey,
You're
guys.
welcome.
I was not happy, but that's okay. How he managed to find them, I don't know. That's how much Bandit loves Glenna treats.
Oh, man, they are good, I guess. But, she said it's probably not a good idea to give them like 3 or something like that, maybe just 1.
Dude, he ate like 10.
Oh, my God.
Or whatever was left in that bag. I don't know how much was in that bag, but he ate the whole thing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Man, no wonder you have
So who gets the bad dog award for this segment? Is it Jones' dog for breaking Jones' wrist, or is it my dog for making, a mess all over my carpet after stealing the Glenna jerky? And then the little cookie treats.
I'm going for Hazel, honestly.
Are you going for your dog because of the? I don't know, man. You didn't smell my house when I walked in. Moving right along. It's.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
It's a toss-up.
Yes. All right, moving right along. It is 5:52 on Nashville's Morning News. Oh, by the way, I need to, Joan.
Yes.
Routh or Ruth?
I'm saying Routh.
Okay, so you and I matched in my monologue and your newscast.
Okay.
Routh and Routh. Johnny says it would be Ruth or Routh.
Ruth. That's what I've always heard.
Now, I hate to say that ABC News would be the arbiter of any kind of truth, but what are they saying?
They say Routh.
Okay, well then it must be Ruth. Totally kidding. 5:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7, and Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news at 6?
Well, President Trump shows some defiance after that second attempt on his life. Also, we'll tell you about a young Nashville boy losing his life while playing with a loaded gun. Those stories at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 5:52 on Super Talk 99.7. You ever really sit down and think about what could happen, the disasters that could take away our freedoms, impact our family? I do, and that's why I do keep a 4-week emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply in my home. I've got several, actually. Now, it's got everything you need to provide for my family during a crisis. With over 2,000 calories a day, there is enough to go around. So I'm ready. How about you? Now, what would happen if there's, for an example, an attack on our homeland, our government attacks us, or maybe there's some sort of a freedom crackdown, our grid gets taken out? Now, we don't know what could happen, but we do know that we need to be ready for anything. Protect your family with emergency food from My Patriot Supply. And yes, now is a great time because you can get $50 off the same 4-week emergency food kit that I've got in my home. And they'll get it to you fast with free shipping. Now, this food lasts up to 25 years. It does taste great and will keep your family alive in times of trouble and despair. So remember to order today. PrepareWithMandis.com. That's PrepareWithMandis.com. You're going to get $50 off a 4-week emergency food kit. Free shipping is included as well. And yes, it is going to ship fast. So one more time, go to PrepareWithMandis.com. Get that great Dan deal. PrepareWithMandis.com. 5:57, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 4172 and a few others want me to comment on the Reagan movie. I have not seen it yet. I don't know why. I think it just, Joe and Johnny, I have to go do it.
Oh, you have to tear the Band-Aid off and go.
I have to go see the Reagan movie, sans my wife, who I love, and she wants to see the Reagan movie as well. It's just, it keeps getting pushed down on our list of activities because we only have, it's like we're married and got Riker and stuff. There's only so much time in a day. So I may go see the Reagan movie by myself. I have heard, now Johnny and Joan, you guys haven't seen it yet, right?
No.
I'm hearing that it is really good. People on the left, of course, as you know, bashing it because, they're people on the left. Yeah. So, they're just born idiots, in my opinion. So I will probably sneak off to go see the Reagan movie this week. I will report back. I'm curious if you've seen the Reagan movie. What did you think? Starring, is it Dennis Quaid?
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah. One of my faves. So,
hey, if you go,
yep,
make sure you take the bag of treats for your dog and put them in a cabinet.
Yes.
So there's no surprises when you come home.
You guys got any other puppy rearing advice? Are we done with that now?
I'm done.
Okay, sure. 5:58, got a lot more straight ahead. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey there, it is now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones. We've got 71 degrees now. We're headed up near 90 again. Checking out the forecast and traffic just ahead. It was a Secret Service agent who had been clearing the next hole ahead of former President Trump while he golfed yesterday, who gets the credit for stopping an attempt to end Trump's life. The agent saw a rifle muzzle at the fence line of the golf course and fired shots. Retired senior Secret Service agent Don Mihalik says that the Secret Service was following protocol.
Because of the Secret Service advance process, it is highly unusual for the Secret Service to open fire on somebody. It's traditionally only when they see an active threat towards the protectee, which, according to the reporting, is what we have here.
58-year-old Ryan Routh traveled from his home in Hawaii to Florida before that incident, and now the FBI is searching his home for more information. Trump later posting to Truth Social, "Nothing will slow me down." He wrote in a statement, "I will never surrender." Other news, Montgomery County police are hoping for the public's help locating a missing 80-year-old woman. Retta Bluedorn is her name. She was last seen at her home on Highway 48 at 9 o'clock yesterday and was seen driving away in a blue 2000 Ford Explorer with Tennessee plates. Now, police say she had been showing signs of dementia. They're asking anyone with information to call 911. An 8-year-old boy has died after accidentally shooting himself at a home in East Nashville. Metro Nashville police say it happened Saturday night at a home on North 2nd Street. The boy and several others had been at their grandmother's home when the boy somehow shot himself with a shotgun that they found. Now, police are investigating. They also remind gun owners that there are free gun locks available at Metro Nashville Police headquarters and all 8 precincts. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
ABC News, Wall Street now. The Federal Reserve is widely expected to cut interest rates when the Board of Governors meets this week. But will it be by a quarter point or a half point? New data over the next 3 days could influence that decision. Any weakness in manufacturing, retail sales, or housing starts could boost the odds of a larger rate cut by the central bank. Stock futures are little changed on speculation of a reduction in interest rates. On Friday, though, the Dow Jones rose 300 points to close solidly above 41,000. The Nasdaq and the S&P each gained more than 0.5% to keep their daily winning streaks alive. Striking Boeing machinists are confident they can get bigger pay hikes and a better pension. Talks resume next week, but union leader John Holden tells NPR the walkout at the aerospace company could go on for a while. More than 30,000 members went on strike Friday, shutting down production of the Boeing 737 MAX and other jets. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Now, Dow futures are up 90, S&P futures up 1, and the Nasdaq futures minus 38. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
We have picked up a crash this morning in the Four Corners area, Mountain View Road at Hamilton Church Road, and also some drop-off delays being experienced at the airport, I-40 eastbound, that off-ramp there for the airport. That's exit 216A. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
6:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Welcome on into your Monday, September 16th. Hope it is a great one. Donald Trump alive and well this morning after yet another assassination attempt. Mixed reporting seems to be the right word on whether or not this guy, Ryan Routh, was able to get any shots off against Donald Trump. The FBI seemingly scared him away with their firing at him after they saw him in the bushes. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more in this hour of Nashville's Morning News. We covered it extensively a few minutes ago in the 5 o'clock hour, and the reaction to the former president getting, he didn't get shot at. Well, we don't know if he got shot at or not. They're trying to figure all that out. But the bottom line is the FBI is treating it as a second assassination attempt, regardless as to whether or not this guy, Routh, actually got off any shots. But here's the point. The point is a couple of things. Number one, and I got a lot to cover in this hour of Nashville's Morning News, but one of the things that has to be pointed out, and then I'll move on to another topic for this half hour, is the fact that for the former president, he has had all kinds of just terrible things, of course, as you folks know, said about him really since he came down that escalator. Remember that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, this is just part of what they've said about him over the last several months.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Democracy is on the ballot.
Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. We cannot allow that to happen again.
All right, so y'all know, if you listen to Nashville's Morning News, that has been something that the Democrats have been saying about Donald Trump for years. They've also said he's a racist, a misogynist, all of these things that I know that you know. So I don't need to spend an inordinate amount of time talking about it. But this whole notion that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, well, you know who used that exact same language? The guy that wanted to kill Donald Trump on Sunday, Ryan Routh. As a matter of fact, he utilized it on his social media using the exact same verbiage. So the big question is, okay, then can I just raise up my hand and say that when they talk about Donald Trump being a threat to democracy and all that nonsense, can I say that's a dog whistle? Can I say that that's a dog whistle to all of their minions to take out or try to take out the former president of the United States? Because let's face it, this is the second attempt on Donald Trump's life in the last couple of months. So what does that tell you? This guy voted for Trump in 2016. Somewhere along the lines, he ended up falling out of favor with Donald Trump, or Donald Trump fell out of favor with him, and he decided to go Biden in 2020. And this guy is a big supporter of Ukraine, this Ryan Routh. He flew all the way to Ukraine because he wanted to be an American volunteer to fight the Russians. And he actually wrote a book on the whole Ukraine war. And so he flies all the way out there to fight the Russians. He writes a book, does interviews, as a matter of fact. Now, the bizarre thing is that his candidate, Joe Biden, is the one that got us involved in Ukraine because of his weakness. And so the more that you hear about this guy, the more it just doesn't make any sense. He's also donated to Democrats and Act Blue roughly 20 times. And yes, he had a very long rap sheet as well. And so for a lot of folks, a lot of the media outlets out there, just give you one quick soundbite of Lester Holt.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio. All
right, so they're victim blaming, essentially. They're blaming Donald Trump because of that nasty rhetoric. And it's kind of interesting because they're talking about the rhetoric and the comments about the Haitian immigrants of J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, yet nobody has anything to say about the audio that I just played for you from Tim Walz and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I mean, listen, I can play you all of the audio that, everybody's going to be playing today. It's the audio that you have already heard with all of these different Democrats with very violent and threatening language against Donald Trump. Again, you can call them dog whistles. You can say that these are actually just blatant, threats against the president, calling him all kinds of names. But the bottom line is that for the mainstream media, you're going to be hearing that a lot today, where you're going to have them talking about and going back to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and their comments about the Haitians and basically victim blaming. I mean, J.D. Vance was on with J.D. Vance. This was epic. With J.D. Vance was on with Dana Bash, and this was epic. This was over the weekend, and they were talking about the Haitians and the dogs and the cats. Now, in the last couple of days, we've actually seen bomb threats come in to various buildings in Springfield. Apparently, there were also some Proud Boys that were marching, like a dozen of them, and all kinds of accusations that Republicans, with these stories of Haitians eating cats and dogs, are causing the town of Springfield to suffer. And so J.D. Vance, he agreed to come on with Dana Bash, and this didn't turn out well for Dana Bash.
Before Donald Trump talked about eating dogs and cats on a debate stage, it was you, Senator, who first elevated this baseless rumor. These are your constituents. So why are you putting them at risk by continuing to spread claims about Haitian immigrants, despite officials in your state saying that there's no evidence and pleading for you to stop?
Which is kind of weird because the Attorney General, the state's Attorney General, actually says that there may be some credence to these accusations. So I'm not sure what has all been going on lately with this. I kind of dropped the story. But J.D. Vance comes out and he says, listen, I'm listening to my constituents, which is a lot more than the media actually does.
Now you ask, why have I talked about some of the things that I've been talking about? Let me just say this. My constituents have brought approximately a dozen separate concerns to me. 10 of them are verifiable and confirmable, and a couple of them I talk about because my constituents are telling me firsthand that they're seeing these things. So I have two options, Dana. I can ignore them, which is what the American media has done for years to this community, or I can actually talk about what people are telling me. And of course, many of the things that the media says are completely baseless have since been confirmed.
Yeah, and listen, we went through all of that last week. And so there's a lot more, and it's straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News. 6:15, time to check the roads. Sunny today, partly sunny, and a high of 87 degrees. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, talking about this epically train-wrecky interview between Dana Bash and J.D. Vance. And she's really, if you look at the interview, and by the way, you can see it in its entirety on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show, but she attacks him. Now, to me, this story is long since over. I mean, this story was over as of Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know if J.D. Vance has been really talking about this much. I understand Trump obviously brought it up in the debate. We all know that. But this does seem to be an ongoing thing. The hue and cry of the media, oh, the Republicans are spreading fake news, when in reality, many of the things that they've discussed and talked about over the years where we're told that we're spreading fake news and conspiracy theorists end up true, regardless of what the media says, and J.D. Vance is absolutely right.
For example, I was told, Dana, that by the American media, that it was baseless that migrants were capturing the geese from the local park pond and eating them. And yet there are 911 calls from well before this ever became a viral sensation of people complaining about that exact thing happening. Kamala Harris opened the border, and now these people are suffering. That's what I'm focused on, Dana.
So then, because she is not going to let this go. I mean, Dana Bash is not going to let this go. So she starts debating him, starts going back and forth with him, with J.D. Vance, and basically she starts attacking him.
Nobody is disputing that the town of Springfield, Ohio, needs help. But you're not just a bystander, you're the senator from Ohio. So instead of saying things that are wrong and actually causing the hospitals, the schools, the government buildings to be evacuated because of bomb threats, because of the cats and dogs thing, why not actually be constructive in helping to better integrate them into the community? Because there are a lot of employers there who say that the Haitian workers are helping fill jobs that they need desperately filled.
So right there you hear that Dana Bash seems to actually blame J.D. Vance and Donald Trump for threats against folks in Springfield, Ohio. And so, yeah, you know what? He does push back, as he should.
Dana, first of all, let me just respond to a couple of things that you said. But I want to start with something you said, which I think is frankly disgusting and is more appropriate for a Democratic propagandist than it is for an American journalist.
Well, I will say, isn't that what Dana Bash is? She's an American propagandist for the Democrats. She's no journalist. I'm just going to tell you. Just like David Muir and George Stephanopoulos, they're not journalists either. Dana Bash and David Muir and George Stephanopoulos, clearly they're in it for the Democrats.
There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator,
and
this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it. What we have said is that this town has suffered terribly under the policies of Kamala Harris. Now, you just accused me of inciting violence against the community when all that I've done is surface the complaints of my constituents, people who are suffering because of Kamala Harris's policies. Are we not allowed to talk about these problems because some psychopaths are threatening violence? We can condemn the violence on the one hand, but also talk about the terrible consequences of Kamala Harris's open border on the other hand.
So Bash simply will not get off the dogs and cats thing. She's going back to it and going back to it and going back to it. And Vance tries to explain. There's so much more going on here than just this discussion of dogs and cats. And embedded in this next soundbite is where Vance totally gets Dana Bash. I want you to listen very closely.
Now, let me just fact check a couple of other things that you said, Dana, because it's important. You said that all of these migrants are in the country legally. They're in the country through what's called temporary protective status.
Right.
That is when Kamala Harris waved a magic amnesty wand, taking people and giving them legal status. That is not to say that they're here legally. That is a terrible indictment of her amnesty policies that have further opened the border and further caused terrible migration into this country.
You might not agree with the policy, and obviously you don't, which is totally fair and legitimate. There are policy disagreements all the time, but the fact is it is the law because President Biden and Vice President Harris are. But I don't want to frankly go down this conversation about policy,
Dana,
because
you made a point. You don't. I agree. You don't want to talk about policy.
No, what I want to talk about
instead of about the fact
Senator,
that Kamala
it was
Harris,
your distraction.
Dana, granted amnesty.
You were the
at
one
a mass
who started
level.
talking about eating dogs and cats.
I mean, listen, he got her to say that she does not want to talk about policy.
But I don't want to frankly go down this conversation about policy
Dana,
because
I agree. You don't want to talk about policy.
No,
Dana,
what I want to talk about.
So finally, J.D. Vance gets absolute. This is the moment that went viral. Finally, J.D. Vance really got sick and tired of being treated like he was by Dana Bash.
Dana, would you like to ask me questions and then let me answer them, or would you like to debate me on these topics? I noticed that when you had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, you gave them multiple choice answers to the questions that you asked, and you allowed them to answer the questions. I'm happy to be here to talk about policy, but if you're going to interrupt me every single time that I open my mouth, then why am I even doing this? So please ask a question, and I'd ask you to be polite enough to let me answer it.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
That was excellent.
It wasn't that
his
great.
Part. Yeah.
You know what? And people are saying, J.D. Vance was rude to Dana Bash.
Oh.
No. the rude was coming from Dana Bash, and J.D. Vance was doing everything that he possibly could to maintain composure. But I love the part where he gets her to admit that she doesn't want to talk about policy.
Doesn't want to talk about policy.
That's exactly right. It is 6:22 on Nashville's Morning News. On Super Talk 99.7, Joan Jones. What's coming up in the news is 6:30.
Well, we'll give you some idea about who Ryan Ralph is. We'll tell you what neighbors have to say. And also, are Boeing workers Indian givers? Those stories at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 6:22 on WTN. Dan Mandis here with a question for you. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask, because some insurance companies, they refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for an older roof, and this means that the insurance company will depreciate how much they pay for your roof claim. Older roof, they're going to pay you less. Now, that could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. Now, my friends at King & Associates Insurance, they will pay full replacement cost. So whether you have to replace a 10-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they do pay for it to be replaced, period. Now, it is that kind of focus on customer service that makes King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-329-8121, 615-329-8121. Get your royal review, tkinginsurance.com. .626, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matthew Hurt is coming up after the news at 6:30 here on WTN. You know how much I love the Glock store, right? Now, it is where I buy my guns, my ammo, and my accessories. It is also where I learned to shoot and do continue to train. Now, you know, training at the Glock store, it really is great. And it's easy because every session is a private lesson in private rooms, not public lanes. It's one of the things I love about the Glock store. But, they also do parties at the Glock store. I've seen bachelor parties going on, birthday parties, retirements. They even do corporate team building. Now, parties will include a VIP room with kitchen access, dedicated shooting rooms with instructors, and shooting activities designed for every level. They also, by the way, include ammo and even full auto options. So to get your party started, call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-682-6565. 615-682-6565. They can start planning a customized party just for your needs. The Glock store is my place to train and shoot. Let me tell you something. This is a great facility, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. .629 on WTN News with Joan is coming up next. Dan Mandis here. Someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. I actually went home and I counted how many connected devices that I own. It is way more than a dozen now, all to keep me connected to the good stuff. My streaming, my gaming, all my interneting, you name it, not to mention, of course, Riker and Amy as well. Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. That's hundreds, for real. Now, through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $30 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Plus, get free Wi-Fi equipment included, and ask about how you can be eligible for a free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Now, make sure your home and your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. So why don't you switch today? Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Good morning. It's now 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with the latest news. We're looking at 69 degrees now. Going to be a hot one today. Stick around for the full forecast in just 5 minutes, where we're getting a better picture of who the man accused of attempting to kill President Trump is. Ryan Routh is his name. He had only moved to Hawaii recently, and his neighbors said they kind of liked him.
He's always saying hello, and he's a very good neighbor. And, I kind of was shocked that all of this is happening.
Others said he didn't show any signs of political activity at all.
Never heard anything directly from him that expressed any kind of hatred or that would even make me worry about his ability to do something like he's being alleged to do.
However, his background check showed a much different picture. Ralph has faced dozens of run-ins with police stretching back to at least the 1990s. While living in North Carolina, the Greensboro News and Record reported in 2002 that Ralph was arrested after barricading himself in his roofing company's office during a 3-hour standoff that followed a traffic stop in which he put his hand on a gun before fleeing. Routh is behind bars today. Mediation efforts begin Tuesday, tomorrow, between Boeing and 33,000 workers over a new contract. The strike started last week, costing the company over $100 million a day and leaving workers in California, Oregon, and Washington state without a paycheck.
Union members wanted a 40% raise over 3 years. The contract they were offered would have given them 25% over 4 years. And they want their pensions back. They lost those in 2014 in a deal with Boeing to keep jobs in Washington state. The contract they were offered this time around also took away yearly bonuses and offered them instead a one-time ratification bonus of $3,000.
ABC's Clara McMichael reporting stock futures are now turning a little sharply downward. Now the Dow futures are up 91 points, but S&P futures have fallen now. They're down just about 2 points, and NASDAQ futures are minus 59. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:33 on Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here. You know how much I love Zero Res because they keep my carpets insanely clean, and I always take advantage of their special pricing to save money as well. Now, you know that in my house, I do, sadly, use them all the time. With kids and dogs, I need to call them more often than I'd like to admit. But the great news is they don't use any harsh chemicals, and that does mean pure safety for my family. Now, they do have the highest approval rating possible from the Carpet and Rug Institute. Now, when they clean, they don't leave anything behind, just soft and fluffy carpets. One of many reasons why I love Zero Res. Now, when they come to my house, they arrive on time and leave with me as another satisfied customer. They've got a great deal going on right now. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned for $119. Plus, you're going to get a free hallway. And they're also offering you $100 off of air duct cleaning using Fresh 100 for the promo code. Restrictions may apply. Call now at 615-535-9376. Book online, ZeroResNashville.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It is the right way to clean.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
We are beginning to see the normal backup 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Also, an injury accident reported Jefferson Street at DB Todd. Traffic backing up on DB Todd. Still dealing with the crash, Mountain View Road and Hamilton Church Road. And we've also picked up a crash near the airport, Couchville Pike near McCrory Creek Road. And those drop-off delays, 40 eastbound at exit 216. Still dealing with that, getting into the airport. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Beautiful.
6:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, first things first. I'm going to give a shout out to Charlie at 5265. Apparently had some tests done last week, and he's waiting for those tests to come back. He spends every morning with Nashville's Morning News, and he is asking for some prayers. So, Charlie, you got it at 5265. Let us know, and hope the tests turn out to be nothing. Now, I want to get to Matthew Hurt. And Matthew, of course, is our grassroots political analyst. And Matthew, always great to have you on. And I mean, clearly, since the last time we spoke, there have been a lot of updates to what is going on here in America, including what happened yesterday with this attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump. And I don't know if you heard earlier, I'm going to play this throughout the day just because, to me, it really does bring home what is going on with the Democrat Party and what they have been saying about Donald Trump. This is obviously part of the narrative that they have been spewing for a long time.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Democracy is on the ballot.
Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. We cannot allow that to happen again.
We cannot allow that to happen again. Dog whistle, perhaps. That is, of course, Joe Biden, Tim Walz, and Kamala Harris. And Matthew Hurt, first thing I got to ask you is, well, that is the exact same vernacular, the verbiage that the attempted shooter had used on social media, Ryan Routh. What do you think?
Dan, this isn't the first time that you and I have talked about these, what you call dog whistles, which I think is pretty accurate. Threat to democracy, existential threat to democracy. We can't allow this to happen. When you say those kinds of things, you elevate the concern for Donald Trump and Republicans to a level that if we were to allow him to be elected, then we would somehow subvert the democratic process. That's the subconscious argument being made for people who don't support Donald Trump, which means they may take elevated risks and responses to preventing that from happening. And so that's what we saw over the weekend. That's what we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania. These kinds of things, attacks on Donald Trump's life, attacks on or dehumanizing Republicans or in particular Donald Trump supporters. All of this is elevated rhetoric that dehumanizes one side or the other, in particular Donald Trump supporters this time and Donald Trump himself. And it is something that is dangerous to our democratic processes. The elevated language from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democrats is harmful to our American republic.
It is kind of interesting, and I did tweet this out, Matthew, that Republicans and Donald Trump, we're the ones that are supposed to be the threats to democracy, but it's our guy that keeps getting shot at.
Yeah, that's the thing that is absolutely surprising, and I just wonder how long this story from the weekend will stay in the news cycle, because the mainstream media and Democratic talking heads and candidates for sure, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, wanted to move past the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting as quickly as they could. And it is now a footnote on the Wikipedia page of the 2024 presidential election. But these are serious threats, not only to Donald Trump himself, but to our democratic processes and this election. And it should be taken seriously. Threats against Donald Trump's life are absolutely dangerous as it not only for Donald Trump, but also, again, for this election.
I don't want to be a Danny Downer on a Monday, but I mean, I've got to ask. So Butler, now we had what happened yesterday. The rhetoric is not going to slow down. The rhetoric, no doubt, on the left is going to continue. Lester Holt, just for folks who may not have heard this is what Lester Holt said after the assassination attempt.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
And this was Tim Walz after the assassination attempt.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are. So it isn't much else. Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes. They're going to do all that.
I mean, pretty shocking that, I mean, they have not missed a beat. That was Lester Holt. That was Tim Walz. And it's clear that they don't care at this point. They just don't care. And I think probably part of this is because the former president, wasn't actually hit. But it doesn't look like they're going to turn down their rhetoric. Now, Joe Biden, moving on. Joe Biden said something that I thought was kind of interesting. He said this over the weekend in one of his speeches that very few people paid attention to.
We went big and we went bold, and yes, the result, yes, we are better off today than we were 4 years ago.
Are you interested or fascinated that Joe Biden is going down this road, especially when over the weekend there was this headline: Americans are falling behind on their bills. Wall Street is alarmed. Lenders are seeing a rise in late payments on credit cards and auto loans. And the part about auto loans is especially worrisome because that's usually the last loan that people want to default on because that's how they get around. So are you surprised at that flex by Joe Biden?
You know, one way to let the air out of a balloon when it comes to campaign messaging is to try to steal the message from your opponent. This, I believe, is going to fall absolutely flat. And you and I have spoken about this countless times. When it comes to putting food on the table, putting gas in the tank, saving for retirement, and making the mortgage, there are higher costs at every single point in the American experience. And so this argument will not resonate with the American people, and it is a strange argument to try to steal from Donald Trump are you better, today than you were 4 years ago? And I think I'm not exactly sure what Joe Biden is thinking in trying to make this argument, but it is not going to resonate with the American people.
Well, let's be honest. I don't think Joe Biden knows what he's thinking. Got a little bit more with Matthew Hurt coming up next at 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. .645 on WTN, partly sunny today and a high of 87. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Matthew Hurt is joining us. Matthew, over the weekend, this story, I think it started actually on Friday. I'm not sure. All the days are blending together now. But this ABC News whistleblower swearing under perjury, a penalty of perjury, that the Kamala Harris campaign dictated the terms of the questions during the presidential debate. Furthermore, they say the Harris campaign insisted upon live fact-checking of Donald Trump during the debate, but no fact-checking of her. And this person is actually out there claiming and saying that he's got tape recordings to prove it. ABC News fact-checked Donald Trump at least 5 times, did not check Kamala Harris once. So what are your thoughts? If this, because remember, Matthew, the whistleblowers are also always supposed to be believed according to the Democrats.
I was following this story right after the debate. It was Wednesday or Thursday where this story came out on Twitter, And there was another program on this station that sort of pumped the brakes on it. It is hard to tell in real time what is factual and what is rumor, particularly with social media. But, there are outlets like OMG and James O'Keefe, where they have undercover journalists who go and get this information. And the way these stories are released is like this. Step one, release some information, get people talking about it. Step two, release proof of the information. And so it looks like we are in this part of this storyline. If it is accurate, and I think that it is responsible of us to read that and try to assess where the facts are, and follow along in the story. So if the next shoe to drop is coming, I'm very interested, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Harris campaign dictated those terms for the debate.
What's interesting, and I don't know what any of the other hosts said, but that would make sense. Because when you look at what David Muir and the other moderator did during that debate, where, it was clearly they were going after Donald Trump. It was clear that they were going to aggressively fact check Donald Trump, and they just let Kamala Harris do whatever the heck that she wanted. So the only thing that makes sense is either journalism is completely dead in this country or there was some sort of a deal. I would find it hard to believe that there's recordings of all this that are proving it. But that's the only thing that actually makes sense unless you have lost all faith in the mainstream media. Now, just so everybody knows, not only have I lost faith in the mainstream media, but I also would not put it past ABC News to come up with some sort of a deal with Kamala Harris so that she would appear for said debate. Now, you also know, Matthew, that she had an interview with a local ABC News affiliate that came out, I think it was on Friday. And Friday does, to be perfectly candid, friends, it seems like so long ago with this news cycle. But this, and I've got some audio from this, where it was a complete and utter train wreck, this interview, because she was word salading all over the place.
At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy. I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
So she starts.
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid.
Like 2 minutes.
My mother raised my
just
sister.
On and on about the personal stuff. And by the way, she said exactly the same thing that she said
enough money to buy our
during the debate.
House when I was a teenager.
And she didn't get into any specifics whatsoever. And I guess, Matthew, my question is, are we ever really going to be able to drill down into exactly what it is that she wants to do? Now, she did talk about the child care tax credit. She talked about giving people money for down payments on homes and some of the other things that she has mentioned. But there's not a lot of detail here in this interview.
To directly answer your question, Dan, no. And what we're going to see in interviews and what we saw at the debate and what we may see in candid moments on the campaign trail is her dogged sticking to the narrative, sticking to her story. And I don't blame a candidate for crafting a narrative and then answering questions through the lens of that narrative. But when it is so blatant that she disregards, ignores, and obfuscates on the question, it's just come up with two policies, Dan. Yeah. Come up with two policies, Kamala Harris, that would help the economy. And she does not answer, and we will continue to see this for the next, 54, 55 days.
It's going to be a long 54, 55 days because she is sticking to, literally the same exact verbiage, the same exact vernacular that she used during the debate. People have actually, and I've got the audio, they're comparing and contrasting what she said during the debate with what she said to that local ABC News affiliate. And the intonation is the same. The head nodding is the same. It's exactly the same. And so she's just, I don't know, as everybody keeps saying, she's just a vapid presidential candidate that simply does not have any real ideas. 6:51 on Nashville's Morning News. Very quickly, Matthew Hurt, what do you see for the next 52 days from Donald Trump?
Well, I hope that Donald Trump can continue to make the case to the American people about the issues that are important. J.D. Vance in that Dana Bash interview was, when he attempted to redirect the conversation, I thought that was brilliant and very well done. Score 2 for J.D. Vance against Dana Bash. And I hope that Donald Trump can continue to use his delivery style to connect with the American people. That is the opportunity, an incredibly scripted Kamala Harris that the American people can see through, and a sometimes hard to love but always on point Donald Trump on the campaign trail. I think that's a significant contrast. And it will show the American people the direction that we need to go in this election.
All right, Matthew Hurt, always great to have you on. It is 6:52 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan Jones was coming up in the news at 7.
Well, tell you, a Tennessee congressman points the finger of blame at the Secret Service for yesterday's assassination attempt. And politics seeps into a big awards show last night.
Nuh-uh.
Really? Mm-hmm. Those stories coming up at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I heard people are actually falling asleep at the Emmys. It was that bad.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
we'll let Joan talk about that coming up in the news at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Window Nation. Now, this is my window company. They put new windows in my downstairs basement studio, in my bedroom, and my kitchen as well. They look amazing, and yes, they are energy efficient as well. Now, that means that you're saving money. If you do what I did, that means that you're going to save money on the purchase, the install, and on your energy bills as well. Now, right now, they've got a great deal going on. You can call it the Dan deal. You're going to buy 2 windows. You're going to get 2 free and pay nothing and no interest for 2 full years from my friends at Window Nation. Now, one of their customers, Albert, says great value, great product, and outstanding customer service. Albert highly recommends Window Nation, and so do I. Now, Window Nation can install your windows in a day or less, and Window Nation windows come with a lifetime warranty. So remember that great deal. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, pay nothing and no interest for 2 full years. Tell him Dan Mandis showed to reach out, 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number 1, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number 2, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Well, hi there. It's now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at 69 degrees now, but we're headed up to near 90 later on. And yeah, it's going to be dry again. Full forecast and traffic coming up. Former President Donald Trump has praised the Secret Service for their quick actions yesterday when they spotted and shot at a potential assassin at Trump's golf course. But not everyone thinks the Secret Service is off the hook for this one.
There's no way in hell that somebody should have been that close to President Trump with an AK style or AK-47 or whatever it was with a scope.
Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett there on Fox yesterday. He is a member of the Trump Assassination Task Force. Now, the shooter, Ryan Wesley Routh, was 300 to 500 yards away before Secret Service opened fire against him. Burchett says, like the previous attempt, the Secret Service should have been flying drones over the golf course on Sunday. A 74-year-old Murfreesboro man drowned while taking part in a fishing tournament on Normandy Lake Saturday. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency said it searched for William Henry after he failed to show up at a weigh-in. They later found him unresponsive in the water, still wearing a life jacket near his vessel. The investigation is ongoing. Fort Campbell has announced the deployment of units from the 101st Airborne Division at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The Department of the Army said the 101st Combat Aviation Brigade Wings of Destiny will replace the 10th Mountain Division's Combat Aviation Brigade. And the 76th Emmy Awards airing last night. The show Shogun took top drama honors. ABC's Jason Nathanson tells us things also got a little political last night.
Sunday night's Emmys were light on political speeches, but there were mentions here and there. The Bear Best Supporting Actress winner, Liza Colon Zayas, said she had a message for all the Latinas.
Keep believing and vote. Vote for your rights.
The Daily Show won Best Talk Show. Backstage host Jon Stewart referenced Sunday's apparent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
We live in a horrible moment where emotions, and I think the one rule maybe we could all benefit from in terms of engagement is no shooting.
And the cast of The West Wing reunited to honor the 25th anniversary of the show, calling today's political landscape
utterly ridiculous,
but didn't get into specifics. Backstage at the Emmys, Jason Nathanson, ABC News. Los Angeles.
Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures, they're up 106, but the S&P futures are down 2 and the NASDAQ futures are falling 71 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
We are looking at a crash that has the left lane blocked, Briley Parkway eastbound at I-65. Also, a one-car crash has the left shoulder blocked and traffic backed up I-24 eastbound at Bell Road, exit 59. Also, just down the road toward Murfreesboro, I-24 eastbound at 840. That has got things fouled up quite a bit as well. And then again, there's the normal backup, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Look, I know it's early in the investigation into yet again, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump from over the weekend. Maybe some of you folks can fact check me on this. So people are asking me the attempted assassin from over the weekend, guy by the name of Ryan Routh. So people are saying that he was in a BlackRock security commercial. Now, I've seen that, but I don't know if that's confirmed yet. Now, we do know that Thomas Crooks, the guy from a couple of months ago who actually did get some shots off on Donald Trump, he was in a BlackRock commercial. So was Ryan Routh actually in a BlackRock commercial too? That sounds really weird to me.
Like really weird, and that would speak a whole lot about what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, is it possible that both of these guys were in a BlackRock commercial? I mean, unfortunately, these days, Joan, as you well know, you can't always trust what you see on the internet. You don't know what's AI. You don't know what has been manipulated.
Right.
I am seeing, and people are sending me this, that he was in a BlackRock commercial too. That would be stunning to me. If both of these guys, Thomas Crooks and Ryan Routh, if they both were in BlackRock commercials, I don't see how that's even possible. So that's why I'm asking. I'm not saying this as officially because I don't know what's real and what's not anymore with the internet. So if somebody can provide me with some guidance on whether or not this guy, Ryan Routh, was actually in one of these BlackRock commercials, I would appreciate it. Really interesting, though. There's a lot going on. By the way, the Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. We have been covering the assassination attempt all morning long for you right here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 at WTN. This shooter, Ryan Routh, I'm seeing some stories where he got off some shots and they found some empty cartridges. I'm seeing that the Secret Service, they scared him away by firing at him. I don't really know what the latest is on that other than they don't know. So it is still under investigation. He has a long rap sheet, convicted in 2002 for possessing a weapon of mass destruction, felony possession of stolen goods, and misdemeanor offenses, including carrying a concealed weapon, hit and run, resisting law enforcement. By the way, they called this guy's son, Ryan Routh's son, and he said something to the effect of, well, he's not a violent guy, okay. I don't think he owns a gun, okay. But he sure does hate that Donald Trump, deservedly so, is basically what he said. So clearly, and this guy, his son, sounded like he didn't like Donald Trump much either. So there's a lot going on as far as the investigation goes. It was really interesting because Sean Hannity apparently had spoken from Fox News, had spoken to Donald Trump right after the assassination attempt. He was on Fox News.
They heard pop, 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 pop. Within seconds, the Secret Service pounced on the president, covered him. You had snipers with tripods. They knew the direction where the shots had been fired, and they had eyes on the location where the shots had been fired.
All right, so Donald Trump ends up being tackled and secured again, and the shooter begins to run. Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw says that this whole situation was really intense from, the first sight, because what he apparently did, what this guy Routh did, was he was hiding in the bushes around the golf course. And so he was able to sneak into the bushes, and then he pointed his gun, apparently an AK-47, at Donald Trump. And the Secret Service saw the gun sticking through the wire fence and pointed right at Donald Trump. So when Hannity says they heard pop, 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 well, that was apparently the Secret Service firing at Routh. But again, I will say once again that according to a couple of media outlets, they did find some empty shells right near where Routh was. This is what Sheriff Rick Bradshaw has to say about all of that.
Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great.
Yeah, that's what he said. So the witness really did help to land this guy's arrest, Ryan Routh. Here's more from the sheriff.
That witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of.
Now, earlier in the broadcast, we were trying to figure out the whole ceramic tile thing. Turns out you can use ceramic tile sort of as like a bulletproof shield kind of a thing. I didn't know that about ceramic tile, so that is what the super texters are telling me. This guy, again, we talked about his long rap sheet. He has donated to Democrats and their causes since 2019. He voted for Donald Trump. If you're just joining us, this guy that tried to take out the former president over the weekend, he actually voted for Donald Trump in 2016. According to his often updated X feed, Routh went from voting for Trump in 2016 to supporting Tulsi Gabbard in 2020 to demanding Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy form a unity team in 2020. You know what I'm thinking? This dude was really delusional. I mean, obviously, if he's trying to take a shot at Trump, but to think that Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy could form a unity team, I just realized how absolutely ridiculous that is. FEC filings show him donating to everyone from Tulsi Gabbard to Andrew Yang to Elizabeth Warren to Tom Steyer in the 2020 Democrat primary. And he has donated to Democrats and their causes again for a long time. The weird thing about this whole thing, and again, this guy's clearly scatterbrained, but the weird part about this whole thing is that he was all about Ukraine. He actually flew all the way to Ukraine to be an American volunteer for the Ukrainian army. And he got there, and even the Ukrainians were like, no, that's okay. Thank you, though. And then he spent some time, this is so weird, he spent some time trying to recruit Taliban fighters who had fled to Ukraine to fight for Ukraine against Russia. So very interesting, background this guy has. And I think that, again, he's delusional because of his whole thing is the Ukraine army and Ukraine versus Russia. And he is somehow against Donald Trump, the guy who says that, Ukraine and Russia, they need to talk to each other and they need to end this war and end it quick. Yet this guy's blasting Donald Trump and not Joe Biden. Memo to Ryan Routh. It's your president. It's Donald Trump. I should say it's your president, Joe Biden, that got us into this mess in the first place.
Hey, you know what's weird? I did check out his Facebook page yesterday, a couple of other places on social media. Mm-hmm. And, the last guy, the last attempted assassin, either he really didn't have a social media presence or it was completely scrubbed. But Ryan Routh's was very much on display yesterday. So those trips that he took, or the trip that he took to Ukraine, and all of his advocating for fighters to go to Ukraine, that was all completely on display with these photos of him dressed in, he had his military style gear
fatigues on and all that.
Fatigues. And he had red and blue, like, spots on his face. It looked a little weird. Like, you can't be serious in a war zone with red and blue splotches on your face.
There's a way to stay under the radar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if they saw that he voted for Trump in 2016, and so they decided to leave his social media up. And then, is it still up this morning?
I was just looking, and I can't tell. I can't really move my hands all that well.
Oh. Joan's back with you know what? The late great Rush Limbaugh was able to broadcast with one hand tied behind his back. Come on, Joan, step it up.
I'm falling down on the job here.
Be like Rush.
Yeah, he is actually still on. No, I just tried to friend him. I don't know how far that'll go.
I think he might be occupied right now. He's in jail.
Be,
so,
yeah. So I'll keep on trying. But yeah, his Facebook posts are still there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Usually that's the first thing they do is scrub all that stuff.
And it looks like, I know you probably don't get these, but I always get these friend requests, and I'm sure other ladies do as well, from people who are within, like, the intelligence community or something. And it's a picture of a very handsome man with a very American-sounding name. Mm-hmm. And then when you click on it, there's nothing in his profile except other women who have joined, like, who have friended him recently.
Right.
He doesn't have any post or anything. It's just a fake thing.
Yeah.
His picture looks like one of those pictures.
I get those, just for the record,
You
Joan.
get guys?
I get women and men.
Okay, well...
And it's all weird, and I never accept the Facebook messages.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get those. Johnny gets those as well. At least I think he said a while back that he gets those. So yeah, bizarre. I am getting hammered by people telling me that the story of Ryan Routh being in a BlackRock video is actually a real thing. But some of these websites that they're sending me, I've never heard of. Because you know how this works, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, one person or one website or one content creator creates it, and then it just explodes on the internet, and we don't know where the original source came from.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I Googled it. Google doesn't bring up anything, but that could be because...
It's been swiped. It's been wiped.
Well, that and Google doesn't want you to find it.
That too. All right, we got to go. Traffic, 7:18 on WTN. .718, partly sunny today, and a high of 87, 69 now at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The most important part about this whole story of the possible Donald Trump assassination and the assassination attempt is the fact that Ryan Routh, as we sit here and we talk about his social media, is that he said in a tweet, or back then a tweet, 2022, that Donald Trump was a threat to democracy, which I don't know about you, but that does sound eerily familiar.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Democracy is on the ballot.
Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. We cannot allow that to happen again.
All right, so I mean, look, I'm going to play that all morning long. I'm sorry, I tried to keep it really short, but it's really important because that's what the politicians are saying. And so, pardon the pun, I don't think it's a pun, but, you know, that could have triggered this guy, Ryan Routh. We certainly know that he is using the same kind of vernaculars. I say often enough, and the Democrats use this term all the time, it's like a dog whistle. That's what it's like. Jasmine Crockett, of course, the Democrat, train wreck Democrat out of Texas, had this to say. This was before the shooting.
I talk about the fact that when we swore in finally in January, that we swore to defend against those that are coming against us, whether they are domestic are international. And right now, I feel like MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically.
Wow. So somebody explained to me, as I asked earlier in the show and on Twitter, if MAGA in general, if we are a threat to democracy, why is it our guy is the one that keeps getting shot at? Like, I would like to ask, I would like someone to ask either Jasmine Crockett or any Democrat that you know who uses that kind of vernacular, if we're the ones that are a threat to democracy, then why are we the ones that keep getting shot at? Now, you want to go down that road? Okay, let's go down that road. The reason that Donald Trump is the one that keeps getting shot at is because they keep going down this road of Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans are a threat to democracy. And as Kamala Harris said in one of those previous sound bites, it cannot continue. So you think anybody will ask Kamala Harris, what did you mean by that? What did you mean when you said that Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans, they simply cannot be allowed to continue? I would like to know. I would like somebody to ask Kamala Harris that. Of course, you all know that she has absolutely no answer for that or anywhere or anything else. By the way, speaking of that, we're going to talk about the interview that she did. We touched on it with Matthew Hurt earlier, but she did an interview with the local ABC News affiliate. We're going to talk about that straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News because, as predicted, she really didn't say a whole heck of a lot. 7:22, and Joan Jones has the news coming up at the bottom of the hour. Joan, what's coming up?
I'll tell you what an eyewitness did that led police right to President Trump's new would-be assassin, and also a pretty wild ride for a kid in Ohio. Those stories at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:22, Dan Mandis here. Fall, of course, is on the way. The pumpkin spice takeover has begun, and Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has some great offers for you. Now, they are your Rude Pro partner, and man, do they have some great deals. How about a free Wi-Fi thermostat on qualifying new HVAC systems? You can control your HVAC system from anywhere. How about a free whole home air filtration system with the purchase of 2 or more qualifying HVAC systems? Or a new HVAC system replacement for as low as $68 a month. All great deals from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This is my HVAC and plumbing company. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Remember, being a Beehive member is the best way to keep your systems in tip-top shape all year long. I've been a Beehive member for years. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, BusyBeeHVAC.com. Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com. We're going back to Hop Springs in that borough. Woohoo! Yeah, baby. They have
excited?
I'm sorry, Joan, what'd you say?
This should at least be a contest.
Yeah, I'm not excited.
No?
No. I mean, I'm excited to meet the listeners. I'm excited to go back to Hop Springs. I love going to Murfreesboro. I think that J.D. Vance is going to kick the living crap out of Tim Walz. Tim Walz is just a big fat goofball. I don't mean to but I mean, that dude is just
he's as crazy as his wife.
He is as crazy as his wife. I mean, he's just bizarre. And his mannerisms, the way that he speaks. Well, you know, we'll do, Johnny, we'll go ahead and, for folks that didn't hear, have you heard, we'll do the whole thing actually in the next 30 minutes. Have you heard, Gwen Walz, the wife of Tim Walz? She is as goofy, maybe even goofier than he is. I mean, they make the goofiest couple ever. So, and I've got the audio to prove it. It is coming up next on Super Talk 99.7, 729 on Nashville's Morning News. You know, when the real estate market slows down, Mark Spain can really help you out with their guaranteed offer. Now, with the guaranteed offer, there's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Absolutely hassle-free. You know that fall can be a busy time, and trying to sell your home can be overwhelming. With the guaranteed offer, you'll be on the market, get an all-cash offer, and close within days. And the best part, no stress. Now, one of their clients, Walker, said we had to move fast, and we were worried the process would take too long and we'd have to spend a lot of money on repairs. Mark Spain gave us an offer in 3 days for over our asking price. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate, they've got over 12,000 five-star reviews, and you can trust Mark Spain to sell your home fast and for the most money. So call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to find out what your guaranteed offer would be on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Good morning, 7:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at 70 degrees now. We'll head up near 90, and we've got your traffic and weather coming up just after the news. Well, the FBI has taken the investigative lead on the assassination attempt on President Trump yesterday. They have 58-year-old Ryan Routh behind bars. They have his vehicle, and they're scouring through the details of his life. But this investigation may look very different if it wasn't for an eyewitness.
A bystander spots an individual coming out of the tree line. They get into a black Nissan vehicle, and they speed off. That person had the presence of mind to take a photo, take a picture of this individual and their vehicle, most importantly, because that had on it critical information about the person's license plate.
That's ABC's Jack Date. Now, Ralph's son, Orrin, told the Daily Mail that neither he nor his dad like the former president, but he said that his dad is not a violent person. Well, TikTok is facing a critical hearing in Washington today. The Chinese owner fighting a law that would ban the app in the U.S. ABC's Rhiannon Alley reports.
TikTok and its parent company ByteDance facing an ultimatum: sell the app or be banned. Lawyers for the social media giant are scheduled to argue in court today that the law that could ban the app is unconstitutional. It comes less than 5 months after President Biden signed a bill into law giving ByteDance until January to find a new owner for TikTok. With more than 170 million users, TikTok has become one of the biggest players in the social media landscape, with everyone from influencers to politicians taking part.
Check this out, an unusual call for police in Bedford, Ohio, when the family of an 8-year-old girl noticed that she was gone and so was their Nissan Rogue.
He did advise the driver appeared to be small in the stature, and she should be in that vehicle driving.
That call, courtesy of broadcastify.com. Doorbell cameras revealed the girl got into the SUV and drove off. She took off more than 10 miles to a Target store. That's where police found her shopping with $400 that she had in her possession.
Wait, how old was she?
She was 8.
Wait, hold on. She was 8.
She was 8.
And she jumped into an SUV.
Yes.
And she drove
10 miles to a Target store and went shopping.
Oh, this got $400. It is Target.
Well, where did she get $400 from?
8 years old?
And the keys to the car.
That's the bigger question.
And the chutzpah to do what she did. My goodness.
How could she see over the...
That's a good question.
Over the wheel.
Yeah.
8 years old.
8. Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Pretty incredible. Dow futures this morning are up 88, but the S&P futures -5. NASDAQ futures down 95. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather coming up. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 7:33, Nashville's Morning News. All the rain that we've been getting, you could end up with water in your crawl space or basement. Now, that moisture could be an indication that you have waterproofing issues. It also means that you need to call my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. Now, when you have water in your basement or your crawl space, it could be a little problem about to get bigger, or it could be nothing at all. It could be something serious. But the bottom line is you've got to call the experts in waterproofing USS. So if you see water or moisture in your basement, call them, the company USS, United Structural Systems. They come out to your house as problem solvers, and their ultimate goal is to give you the peace of mind you need by making sure that you understand what is happening. So if you need waterproofing, call the company that I endorse and I use, United Structural Systems. We guarantee our best. Call USS, 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, online, USSTN.com.
We are looking at a pretty good backup, 40 westbound at Donaldson Pike. Also, that wreck we've been talking about, Murfreesboro Pike at Hamilton Church Road, that's an injury crash that has things backed up. Also, Briley Parkway eastbound at I-65, the crash there still causing problems. And finally, as you are headed into Murfreesboro, right at 840, I-24 eastbound, there is a crash that has the shoulder blocked, but still causing problems. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.38 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Yes, indeed. Really looking forward to watching the vice presidential debate with you out at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. It's going to be our third time back to Hop Springs. Love that place. Get all the details at 997WTN.com. I was talking before the break about how it is clear that J.D. Vance will kick the living crap out of Walz, out of Tim Walz. I mean, Tim Walz, he likes to say that J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are just plain weird, and that's his little applause line. Reality is that those guys, whether we're talking about Kamala Harris or J.D. Vance or I should say Tim Walz, they are incredibly bizarre. I mean, all you got to do is look at some of Walz's speeches, because he does say some really bizarre things. But then again, so does his wife.
But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page.
Now, what she's doing up on stage, this is Gwen Walz, is she's kind of like waving over her head like she's got a page, and she's turning the page.
Pretty good. Do it again. We're going to turn the page. And we're going to turn the page. All right, so I'm going to be watching you.
Oh, that's a little scary. She's going to be... The last person I want to be watched by is Gwen Walz, because she's a little bat crap crazy. And she continues on with this whole turning of the page.
We are turning the page. 52 days and we are turning the page. 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump.
She sounds insane. She sounds insane.
I bet she has a sore throat this morning.
I bet she does.
I bet the folks around her have sore ears.
Yeah.
Now, I pointed this out in the 5, and I want to see if people agree with me. So you just heard Gwen Walz talking about turning the page and, saying, bye-bye, Donald Trump. Is it just me, or does she sound a little bit like this?
We are turning the page.
By the way, you can hear Tim Waltz in the background, and he's going like, Did you notice that?
Yes.
Heard that.
I thought that was very funny. So to me, it sounds like Gwen
I'll
Waltz.
get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
She sounds like the Wicked Witch. Now, is it just me, Johnny, or does Gwen Walls sound like the Wicked Witch?
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
I mean, is it just me? Folks, it can't be just me. Try them both together.
52 days and we are turning the page. 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump, and your little dog, too.
Somebody please tell me I'm wrong.
Uncanny. It's very close.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So at first, here's the confession I know you want. At first, Johnny and I thought of Howard Dean.
Yes,
because of that scream moment that he had, that over the top, and that supposedly ended his
political career.
Yeah, that was it.
Yep. But no, to me, she does sound like the Wicked Witch. I'm sure that Tim Waltz would never say this about his wife, Gwen. But
52 days and we are turning the page. 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump, and your little dog, too.
And now, Donald Trump doesn't occupy the White House
right now.
So why do we keep saying goodbye, Donald? Turn the page.
Yeah. Why are you saying goodbye and turning the page when Trump, as you said, Johnny, is not in the White House? I mean, Joe Biden is in the White House. So
there's all kinds of problems with that speech.
Yes.
Now, if you go to Twitter, follow me on Twitter at Dan Mandis Show, and you'll see. I didn't realize this until the last commercial break. If you look at her face, she does look demonic. Like when she's doing this, she looks demonic and crazy.
She has that like shake. Her head shakes and she's
eyes bulging out.
Yes, yeah.
It's not like she's channeling the Wicked Witch. It's like she's channeling Hillary Clinton, who really is the Wicked Witch.
She's just caught up in the moment.
Yes, she is.
Is that what it is? She's caught up in the moment?
Well, that's that. I'm offering the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's caught up in something.
She's pumped up by the crowd.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Anyway, so that is Gwen Waltz. Wife. And I do believe. Oh, by the way,
Did you
super
check
texters.
for ruby slippers?
No. I'd like to put some lead shoes on her.
Ooh.
I'm kidding.
What?
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Went dark fast.
We bring out the worst of him, don't we?
No, she brings out the worst in me.
And apparently Tim as well, Mr. Walls.
The funny thing is, if you watch the video and you can see him too, it's almost like I think he can tell how cringy this is getting. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I do. He's like, you could just tell it's one of those awkward moments.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell by the excitement in his voice when he.
Oh, some people are saying she sounds like AOC.
Oh,
I don't think she sounds like AOC.
A little bit when AOC tries to sound like she's pumped up.
I guess
she gets a little screechy.
JC, Dan, if you play that sound again, I'm throwing my radio out my car window. Yeah, I know. I tend to overdo it sometimes. She is an Andrea says she is an effing psycho. Okay.
Don't hold back.
4281 says, Dan, you're right. 5250, Dan, you're right. Yes, you nailed it. How embarrassing, says Suzanne. Sally, the women are checking in. She sounds like a psychotic romper room teacher.
She does. That's accurate. That's very well done.
All right. Todd says, Dan, you need to turn the page.
Turn the page.
I will.
I get tired of them saying that, though. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Well, none of it makes any.
No.
Hey, by the way, did you hear what Joe Biden said over the weekend?
We went big and we went bold, and yes, the result, yes, we are better off today than we were 4 years ago.
Not according to most Americans and the Wall Street Journal. Details straight ahead. Time to check the roads. Thank you very much. Partly sunny today and a high of 87 degrees on Super Talk, 69 now. All right. So you just heard Joe Biden with a very strange flex, as we said to Matthew Hurd earlier in the broadcast, where he's trying to say, we went big. Oh, you sure? Yeah, you did. You did go big. And so now you have the vast, vast majority of the American people say that they trust Donald Trump with our economy more than Joe Biden. Wall Street Journal. Americans are falling behind on their bills. Wall Street is alarmed. Lenders are seeing a rise in late payments on credit cards and auto loans as well. Signs are that Americans are struggling to keep up with their bills, are setting off alarms on Wall Street. Shares of consumer lending companies slid this past week after executives raised warnings about lower income borrowers who are struggling to make payments. Well, remember what Joe said.
We are better off today than we were 4 years ago.
No, doesn't sound like it. On top of soaring prices for groceries and just about everything else, people have been dealing with higher interest rates on their credit cards. I've been talking about this for a long time. The average credit card rate as of May was 21.51%, according to federal data. That is up from around 15% in 2019. Now, that helps explain, they talk about why some are finding it harder to keep up with payments, particularly those who don't earn a lot of money. You earn a higher income, then you can absorb that a little bit better. Around 9.1% of credit card balances turned delinquent. Over the past year, they say that is the highest rate in over a decade.
We are better off today than we were 4 years ago.
No, you're really not. Big issue, of course, car payments. More and more people are falling behind on car payments. That is a big worry because people always pay their car payments because it's how they get to their jobs. Now people are falling behind even on those car payments. Delinquent car loans, they say, are the highest they have been in a decade. Now, despite all of that, Tim Walz actually said over the weekend that people really do need to vote for Kamala Harris. Listen to this.
Trying to have that hard conversation in the produce aisle with the person you saw there at the grocery store and ask, have you voted yet?
So do they really want people to have that conversation in the grocery store, in the produce aisle? Because if you're going to have that conversation in the grocery store, it obviously leads to the question about higher prices. Bad place to have this discussion because prices right now are up overall 26% since Joe Biden took over. That specifically, as far as produce goes, you're up about 17 or 18% at least right now since Joe Biden took over. So Johnny, you were saying that what they say, whether it's turn the page or have that conversation in the grocery aisle, they're not making any sense. It just doesn't make any common sense for Tim Walz to say,
trying to have that hard conversation in the produce aisle with the person you saw there at the grocery store and ask, have you voted yet?
Oh, please, please, Democrats, somebody please, if you see me in the grocery store, please come talk to me about voting for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, and don't be surprised if you get produce thrown at you.
That's exactly right. I'm going to hit you with a kumquat. I'm not sure what a kumquat is.
Excuse me?
Moving right along. You know what a good time to ask about who you're voting for in the election is as people are checking out. I think that would be the best time to ask people if they voted yet. Because Tim Walz says that, yeah, that is exactly when we need to start asking people is when they're at the grocery store. Great idea there, Tim Walz. It is 7:50 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. Always great with a comment. Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news today?
Well, I'll tell you, there are new questions about the security perimeter around former President Trump after the latest attempt on his life. Also, a new study that paints Tennessee in not so nice of a light. Those stories at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Joan. 7:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. If you need anything for your house, go to my place, DT McCall's. Now, they've been doing business with Middle Tennesseans for 100 years. Generational growth because they do it all at DT McCall's. Great value, outstanding merchandise, and terrific customer service as well. Now, I bought my oven there at DT McCall's a while ago. It was easy. I went to dtmccalls.com, found what I wanted at the price I wanted to pay. They also deliver for free and haul away the old stuff. Now, this is a great American company, a great Tennessee company that has indoor and outdoor furniture, appliances, kitchen appliances, and all the best brands. Financing options are also fair and reasonable. They know the times are tough right now, so they're going to do what they can to give you every opportunity to get what you need. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lafayette, Lebanon, Franklin, always online, dtmccalls.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
$7:55, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. People are making fun of my kumquat reference.
Yes, they
I'm
are.
not entirely certain why, because, I mean, there is an actual thing. It's a fruit. And I think they're in California, among many other places.
It looks like a long orange.
Well, people are asking, well, I can't say what people are saying. But anyway, yeah, it does. It looks like a long orange.
Oh, well, now that you've done that, you really have to at least give us a little something.
People are
Trust me,
I just want to get them in trouble.
Trust me, yeah.
Yeah, I have got to, Joan, get you a login for the super text line.
I want one, yes.
Because you'll learn to understand why half the things that I say that get me in trouble actually emanate from the super text line.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you're blaming.
Yes.
You're blaming.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. I'm
Just
like
so
a
they
Democrat.
know.
No accountability whatsoever. And by the way, if you did have access to the super text line, you would see that people absolutely agree with me and say that I'm right.
Bye-bye, Donald Trump. And your little dog, too.
They do. They feel that I'm right on that whole thing.
Of course you are, Dan.
See, Johnny, she's learning. The host is always right.
Yeah.
I'm really not. But you know what? If I can drive the listeners crazy with the same soundbite 50,000 times. By the way, do you think Chris Hand will agree with me that Gwen Waltz sounds exactly like the Wicked Witch of the West?
Yes.
Do you think Chris will agree with me?
Definitely.
Well, I know that he's heard the bit now because he listens on his way in sometimes. So we'll get his opinion. Now, I've got Marsha Blackburn coming up, Senator Marsha Blackburn coming up. Should I do that whole bit for the senator?
She'll like it.
Well, yeah.
I really actually don't think she would find it very funny. Should I try it?
I would.
Yes.
Joan, should I try that bit with Senator Marsha Blackburn?
If you can make it concise, just play it. You know, the back-to-back one. Just
if
play
I can
it.
make it concise, please. Joan. I mean, you've only been here for a couple of weeks full time, but you know that I have a problem with being concise.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the music. Thank God. 7:57 on Nashville's Morning News. Yes, a very quick visit with Senator Marsha Blackburn. She's going to chime in on a couple of things. Number one, namely the assassination attempt, second one in 2 months on former President Donald Trump. That and a whole lot more straight ahead. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, now 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're going to head up to a pretty sizzling 89 degrees today. Stick around for the forecast and traffic in just a couple of moments. Well, if you ask a former Secret Service agent if the response to an assassination threat against former President Trump was appropriate yesterday, he'll tell you yes.
Because of the Secret Service advance process, it is highly unusual for the Secret Service to open fire on somebody. It's traditionally only when they see an active threat towards the protectee, which, according to the reporting, is what we have here.
Former agent Don Mihalik there, but Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett tells Fox News.
But why in the world would anybody be anywhere near the perimeter of this line of sight that we talk about is just beyond me. So we've got to get some answers. I don't think we're going to get them during this administration.
The former president later posting to Truth Social, quote, "Nothing will slow me down. I will never surrender." Montgomery County police are hoping for the public's help in locating a missing 80-year-old woman. Retta Bluedorn is her name. She was last seen at her home, along Highway 48. At 9 in the morning yesterday, she was seen driving away in a blue 2000 Ford Explorer with Tennessee plates. Now, police say she had been showing signs of dementia, and they ask anyone with information to call 911. And happiness is hard to come by in the volunteer state, according to a new study. Wallet Hub is out with its 2024 Happiest States in America rankings, proving that where you live may have an impact on how happy you are. Tennessee came in at number 47 on that list, only beating out Virginia, make that West Virginia, Arkansas, and Louisiana. The study looked at three factors: emotional and physical well-being, work environment and community, and also the environment. Guess what state came in number one? It's Hawaii, the number one state for happiness in the U.S. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures this morning still mixed. The Dow futures are up 82, but the S&P futures are down 6. The NASDAQ futures are minus 101. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. Joan Jones, WTN News.
A crash reported I-40 westbound past Golden Bear Gateway, Beckwith Road. That is exit 229. Also, we are looking at some sort of police activity that has the bridge blocked, Korean Veterans Boulevard on the Gateway Bridge. No specifics there. And also pretty jammed up 40 west at Fessler's as well as 65 south at Trinity Lane. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you're doing well for a Monday, September 16th. A lot going on today. We've, of course, been talking about the attempted assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Former President Donald Trump and Senator Marsha Blackburn is... Hey, Joan.
Yes, sir.
So this is the part where I have to tap dance because the senator isn't patched through yet.
Oh, yeah.
But Joan, I heard you talking earlier during your newscast. You got, sort of dry in your throat. And I have this stuff called throat coat. So if you ever want to use my throat coat, you can.
You know what would have been really helpful?
What's that?
If you jumped in to help me.
Do you know what? You were just like right there.
Uh-huh.
You were like right there. And I was like, Johnny, should I jump in? And Johnny said no. That's what Johnny said. Johnny said, no, don't help her out. Let her just deal with the fact that she was losing.
Whoa, fake news.
Yeah, see,
Fake news.
Johnny, I was offering her some of my throat coat.
I know you were.
I mean, just that's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah, and I did I say any, I don't even think I said no.
Ha.
Hey, look, Senator Marsha Blackburn is on with us. Senator Marsha Blackburn, thank you very much for joining us here on WTN.
Always happy to join you. Thank you for having me on.
So let's talk about, of course, what happened over the weekend, attempted assassination on Donald Trump. Again, I mean, this is twice over the last couple of months, obviously, as you know. Senator, I want to play for you something that I've put together as sort of an example of the rhetoric that is out there. Johnny, I need some audio if I could, because we all know that the Democrats have said some reprehensible things about Donald Trump, frankly, over the past 6-7 years.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Democracy is on the ballot.
Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. We cannot allow that to happen again.
Now, Senator, I know that it wouldn't surprise you. That is the exact language that the would-be assassin Ryan Ruth had tweeted out over the last couple of years. I'm sure you're not shocked.
Oh, I'm not shocked at all. And pardon me, when I hear all of this, it causes me to stop and think what we need is to have that focus. We need each of the two parties to focus on robust, respectful, bipartisan debate. We need to have campaigns of ideas and not campaigns of character assassination, which so many times people try to demean the other individual and tear them down. And so let's return to a time where we focus on ideas. Now, if someone says something, if they have taken an action, then of course that is going to be a part of a campaign, like an individual's voting record, things of that nature. But the way they go at saying that President Trump is a threat to democracy, President Trump this, President Trump that, calling people dictators, calling people threats to democracy, that is just not true. It's not factual. Saying that someone, they continue to say Trump's national abortion bans. Trump has said repeatedly the Dobbs decision sent the issue of abortion back to the states. And the states, each state will decide how they're going to address the restrictions and regulations on abortion. That is his stance. Also, they continue to say Trump has this Project 2025, which Donald Trump has nothing to do with. That is a project of the Heritage Foundation. He has said that over and over.
Well, and I gotta ask, Senator, because we all watched the debate. Obviously, you watched the debate, and the number of lies, unfact-checked lies by ABC was stunning, especially when you look at what they did to Donald Trump. I like what you said, and I love what you said about having respectful debate. I just don't think the Democrats are right now with the current candidate. I don't think they have the ability to have a respectful, policy-driven debate because, number one, they really don't have much of a policy with Kamala Harris, and that's why they take the low road.
And repeatedly, people have said, tell us what your economic policy is. And when they don't get an answer, something is going to fill that void. And many times in these campaigns, I watched a rally that a Democrat was holding Saturday, and it was on, I think it was Fox Now. It was something that was streaming. And the attribution of policies to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance was just stunning to me. Things that they have said they are not for, a misrepresentation of those policies, and an attribution to all Republican candidates. Well, Dan, if you want to know what the Republican Party stands for, people can go to my website, marshablackburn.com, and they can click on the Republican Party platform. And it is a real quick read. They can get through it in about 15 minutes, and then they can read for themselves what was passed and accepted at the Republican National Convention as the Republican Party platform. And I would encourage people to do that. We have, since our nation's founding, we have been encouraged to have an informed electorate, and for people to actually show up and cast their vote so that their opinions are represented and those that are elected to cast a vote on their behalf. And I think that is a very important thing to do. We are not voting on personality. We are not voting on joy. We are not voting on who we would like to sit down and have a cup of coffee with. We are voting on someone who is going to represent our opinions and is going to cast those ballots.
And one of the things I thought was, of course, interesting, Senator Taylor Swift came out and decided to endorse Joe Biden. One of the things that I thought was interesting, Kamala Harris, one of the things that I thought was interesting, I've seen a couple of stories where that has actually turned off a number of voters as Taylor Swift came out and very publicly endorsed Kamala Harris after that horrendous debate. I think a lot of people are beginning to notice that these celebrity endorsements are not worth a whole heck of a lot. And Taylor Swift, of course, someone who has attacked you in the last several years. And I think that she and Oprah Winfrey, they are the epitome, in my opinion, of out-of-touch celebrities who try to comment on, which is their right, but they try to comment on these elections, but they don't know what the American people and your average Tennessean is going through. They just don't.
Yes, and, I thought it was interesting that Kamala Harris mentioned, asked the question, are you okay? And the answer to that is, Madam Vice President, the American people are not okay because inflation is currently at 20.3%, over where it was the day that they took office, 20.3%. The price at the pump is up 45.8%. You've got home heating and cooling up over 35%. Groceries are up nearly 30%. Rent is up 33%. So, no, this is not okay. And it has been done because the price of energy has been driven up. supply chain issues, regulations that have been brought to bear on manufacturers and food processors, and people are just drowning in credit card debt. Credit card debt is higher than ever right now.
Well, there was a big article in the Wall Street Journal actually over the weekend, Senator, where they talk about not only are people across America and here in Middle Tennessee, they are defaulting on their credit card payments. They're behind on the credit card payments. Now they're starting to default on auto loans. And the reason why that is a big deal is because usually people will allow the credit card debt. They'll let that to accumulate. The last thing people want to be late on is their auto loan because that's how they get around. In other words, right now with the high interest rates on these credit cards, there is a big problem coming, and it is going to be the fact that people are unable to pay off their credit cards. They're unable to pay off their auto loans, and a lot of that is because stuff is so expensive. Now, they had to turn around and they had to use their credit cards to pay off groceries back when inflation was way up over 9%, and things, again, as you were saying, are still really expensive. So we're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. And as Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Tim Walz try to sit here and convince us that Kamalanomics or Bidenomics is working, clearly, according to the Wall Street Journal and every American going through this, no, it's not working at all. And Senator, appreciate you joining us here on Nashville's Morning News at 8:16. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. 8:17, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to play, we played earlier some of this audio where Dana Bash was on with J.D. Vance. And it got really chippy, to say the least. And they were going back and forth. And J.D. Vance finally, I can't play all the audio right now, but J.D. Vance actually stood up to Dana Bash, and because she was basically berating him about the whole comments regarding eating of the animals, the cats and the dogs, Haitian migrants, Springfield, and that whole thing. And finally, J.D. Vance got tired of it.
Dana, would you like to ask me questions and then let me answer them, or would you like to debate me on these topics? I noticed that when you had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, you gave them multiple choice answers to the questions that you asked, and you allowed them to answer the questions. I'm happy to be here to talk about policy, but if you're going to interrupt me every single time that I open my mouth, then why am I even doing this? So please ask a question, and I'd ask you to be polite enough to let me answer it.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not, actually. If you missed the segment that I did where we were talking about and I was playing audio from Dana Bash and J.D. Vance, I mean, it's epic. It is the kind of interview where you look at it, you watch it, and you realize that we are learning absolutely nothing. And to be honest with you, to me, as I was speaking with Senator Marsha Blackburn about all that, it's really by design. She kept talking about the Haitians eating the cats and the dogs. And, you know, one of the things that Vance said is, this is my constituents. My constituents in Ohio have been calling 911. They've been telling me about all this. Have you seen the city council meetings where people have gone on the record and said this is going on? And so J.D. Vance, he's being basically bullied in this interview, and he was able to get Dana Bash to admit that she did not want to talk about policy.
But I don't want to frankly go down this conversation about policy,
Dana,
because
I agree you don't want to talk about policy.
No,
Dana,
what I want to talk about.
That is one of my favorite audio bites of the day, where you know what it's like? It's like he vanced her. Do you know what I mean? Like he just, because he's really good. I mean, J.D. Vance is smart. He's concise. I really like him, and I like how he stood up and defended himself. Does anybody wonder, and Joan, you can chime in on this if you want, you ever wonder why it is that they continue to do interviews with the likes of ABC, NBC, CBS, Dana Bash, etc. What's the point? These interviews, they're useless, and they don't really, especially this interview with Dana Bash, people are on social media saying that Republicans need to start boycotting these shows. Because without these shows, without the guests like J.D. Vance, these shows would suck even more than they already do. You know what I mean? So if I'm J.D. Vance and if I'm Republicans, a Republican, which I am, but nobody's asking me to be on Meet the Press or any of these other shows. But I think that their constant lies, their willingness to allow Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to just say whatever they want and not fact check them like Dana Bash allowed them to do. And yet you've got J.D. Vance on there, and he is getting berated by Dana, what is her name?
Bash.
Dana Bash. Thank you, Johnny. You know what? I've been listening to too much Dana Bash.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
It's bashed you.
But then they accused J.D. Vance of telling Dana Bash to shut up. Now, I want to play this for you, and I want you to listen real close because it did not happen.
What is the implication when you say you calling out these problems has caused a bomb threat? You accused me of causing a bomb threat. Doesn't that mean you should shut up about the residents of Springfield? Don't you realize you're engaged in basic propaganda to silence the concerns of American citizens?
I was quoting the actual mayor.
So, no, people are trying to say, and Dana Bash is one of them, that J.D. Vance was telling her to shut up. He didn't. And all you have to do is listen to that in context. Once again, you have the Democrats trying to find a victim to put on a pedestal. This weekend's, it was Dana Bash. Absolutely ridiculous. 8:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, the Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news?
Well, who is Ryan Routh? We'll tell you what neighbors have to say about him. And are Boeing workers Indian givers? That's coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here. Now is the time to call Cove Generators. Right now, they are offering you a free 7-year warranty. That is over $1,000 value. So if you've ever wanted a backup home standby generator, now is the time to do it. Your power goes out. It's going to kick the appliances and the lights right back on. A backup home standby generator. Plus, right now at Cove Generators, they've also got great financing options as well. They are your premier Generac home standby generator dealer in the state of Tennessee. So be prepared for the next power outage and call my friends at Cove Generators and never lose power again. 931-559-3311. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out and get that free 7-year warranty. That's over $1,000 value. 931-559-3311. CoveGenerators.com. Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, They want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
A28, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up, the Gang of Four with Joan, who's back now after a couple of days away. By the way, Joan, it does occur to me that Chris has not heard the story about how you busted your hand.
Oh, yeah, he did. And you want to know why?
Why is that?
Because we go someplace that you don't go with us.
Where's that?
We go to church together. I saw him yesterday, you know.
Oh, boy, do I feel judged. Lord.
Well, maybe you go somewhere else.
Maybe I do, Joan. I was kidding. You know what? You've done very well today, only with one hand.
Well, I don't need both hands to get under your skin.
No, you're getting really good at that. It's only been a couple of weeks, man. You're like right there.
Yes, she is.
That's why
it's easy pickings. In fact, Dan, honestly.
She was immediate.
That's why, Joan, that when you are suffering and trying to get through, you know, a newscast and your voice is crapping out on you, that I'm not going to offer you any of my throat coat.
Or any help like getting me through a newscast.
Nope, not at all. I'm gonna just let you suffer. and everybody else along with us. No, I'm just kidding.
I think people on the text line would not like that very much.
That's why I'm not going to give you the assign-in. I'm just kidding. Whatever. All right, 8:29, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Now, I can tell you that as a guy who gets up early, way early, that first cup of coffee is critical to waking up and feeling great. Now, I've tried all kinds of coffees over the years, and now I have discovered Space Cowboy Coffee. Now, this is incredible, rich-tasting coffee with signature blends from around the world. Their new espresso roast is especially good. Now, listen, if you're a coffee snob like me, give Space Cowboy Coffee a try. Their blends and single-origin coffees are as unique as their name. And if this is the first time that you've heard of Space Cowboy Coffee, it's not going to be the last. It's a new company based here in Nashville. I've been trying all their different brews, and yes, they are amazing. Check them out online. It is spacecowboycoffee.com. Use promo code Dan. You're going to get 10% off on that first purchase. You spend $50 more, and you get free shipping. Remember, that's promo code Dan to save some money and get some of the best coffee that Nashville has to offer. That's spacecowboycoffee.com, spacecowboycoffee.com.
Good morning. It is now 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at highs today reaching perhaps 90 degrees. We've got more to come on the weather and traffic in just a couple of moments. Well, we're getting a better picture of who the man accused of attempting to kill President Trump is. Ryan Routh had only moved to Hawaii recently, and his neighbors there kind of liked him.
Saying hello, and he's a very good neighbor, and I kind of was shocked that all of this is happening.
Others said he didn't even show any signs of political activity at all.
I never heard anything directly from him that expressed any kind of hatred or that would even make me worry about his ability to do something like he's being alleged to do.
But a background check showed a much different picture. Routh has faced dozens of run-ins with the police stretching back to the 1990s. While living in North Carolina, the Greensboro News and Record reported that in 2002, Routh was arrested after barricading himself in his roofing company's office during a 3-hour standoff that followed a traffic stop in which he put his hand on a gun before fleeing. Routh is behind bars today. Mediation efforts begin tomorrow between Boeing and 33,000 workers over a new contract. The strike started last week, costing the company over $100 million a day.
Union members wanted a 40% raise over 3 years. The contract they were offered would have given them 25% over 4 years. And they want their pensions back. They lost those in 2014 in a deal with Boeing to keep jobs in Washington state. The contract they were offered this time around also took away yearly bonuses and offered them instead a one-time ratification bonus of $3,000.
That's ABC's Clara McMichael. Now, the market numbers are brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. And stocks, little change now, but the Dow Jones Industrials have opened the markets this morning up 230 points. The S&P, they're down 2 points, and the NASDAQ is losing 140. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:33, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Great news for you homeowners. Mortgage rates are going down. My friends at Loan Pronto have rates that begin with 4. This is the best rate in years. Now, listen, if your current rate is over 6%, you can dump that rate and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto has locked in folks recently at 4.99% APR. Now, whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it is time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in the process with another lender, stop in now and call Loan Pronto or check them out online, loanpronto.com. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So call them right now, Loan Pronto. They can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. You can find them online. It's loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781 on approved credit.
On I-40 westbound at Donaldson Pike, there by the airport, we've got the left lane blocked due to a crash. Also, 2 left lanes are down due to a crash for 40 westbound. That's right before exit 6. That's Nolensville Pike. And also 24 westbound right before Sam Ridley over in Smyrna. An accident reported there has traffic backed up. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
(8:38) Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Clear my throat, then turn my mic on. Right, Johnny? Isn't that what you tell me all the time?
That'd be a great idea.
Did you do it in reverse just now?
I did. Could you hear me clearing my throat?
I did not.
Okay, good. Hopefully nobody else did either. Anyway, time for the Gang of Four. Joan is here and back. Hello, Joan.
Hello there.
Joan's in Fuego today. Joan is like Rush Limbaugh. Broadcast excellence, one hand sort of tied behind her back or in a sling. It's like the same thing.
See it? It's right there.
Yep.
There you go. Chris is here and Johnny, hello, everyone. So do you remember when in high school, when somebody would come in with a cast, we could all like sign their cast?
Yes.
I didn't get a good look at Joan's cast. Is it signable? Can I sign your cast to Joan?
It might be, but if you come near me with any object, I might bite. I was just telling Chris that I'm like,
okay, well, not a problem.
I think that answered your question.
I'm so worried about somebody bumping into me, because it just hurts so much that I try to avoid crowds. Like, so when I was at church yesterday, I stayed to the side.
Yes.
I don't want somebody to bump it. I don't want to. It hurts. It hurts. So.
What a trooper for coming in, though.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know you guys went to the same church.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
We've been going to the same church for a while.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's a base church.
Yes.
It is a base church. Yeah.
This is going to be like my life now, isn't it? I can just tell. This is just going to be my life.
That's right, Papa.
Hey, did you tell me that there's big news in the Kamala Harris world, Chris?
There is. Have you?
Yeah.
There's actually Ben & Jerry's unveiled a new Kamala ice cream flavor.
Really? What's the flavor?
It's not kumquat. It is.
Well, thank goodness.
It is.
That just so everyone knows, that was exactly how we rehearsed it.
Coconut Jubilee.
Oh, is that like a play on joy?
Yeah, and a play on the falling out of the coconut tree.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness.
I think coconut fell on her head. That's why she sounds the way that she does.
She was smoking the coconut.
They're
Is that what they call it these days?
Using it like a bong.
Smoking the coconut. Kamala Harris. Whatever. Moving right along. Okay.
Yeah, they're launching a Scoop the Vote ice cream truck tour in key swing states.
So
That is so
even,
dumb.
They don't even have like a Donald Trump version of their ice cream. No.
Oh, you know, Ben and Jerry's. They are terribly leftist, right, Joan?
I do, but I just thought that at least they try to play the middle.
Oh,
not alienate all the people who like ice cream, who might happen to be conservative.
Nope.
No.
They have absolutely no problem with, just kind of like Taylor Swift, alienating half of the American voters, supposedally.
Did you see Trump on True Social before he got shot at yesterday?
No. What did he?
He said, I look at let's just let breeze by that for a second.
Yes.
Yeah. He wrote, I hate Taylor Swift.
Can you imagine if that was his last tweet ever?
I hate Taylor Swift.
I hate Taylor Swift.
Is that actually what he did?
On True Social, yeah.
He just said, I hate Taylor Swift.
That was it. That was it. I hate Taylor Swift.
I love that.
My
gosh.
I don't picture him like yelling it in rage. I picture like in passing, like, oh, I hate Taylor Swift. That's how I read it.
Let me send this out real quick.
Hold on. That's very funny.
Thought it was hilarious.
That is very funny. All right. So, Chris, I'm not sure if you've been listening, but did you hear Gwen Waltz over the weekend with her big speech that she had?
Here we go.
Did you hear it?
I have heard it, but I want to hear it again.
Do you want to hear it again?
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Let me know on the super text line. I'll call you a liar.
Trust me, a lot of people don't want to hear this again. However, I did find it interesting that she sounds just way bizarre.
We are turning the page! 52 days and we are turning the page!
If nails on the chalkboard were a person.
Bye-bye, Donald Trump!
So I thought, when I heard that, I thought, God, she sounds like the Wicked Witch of the West. She does. And it just, you folks tell me.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
So you mash them all up together.
52 days and we are turning the page! 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump, and your little dog, too.
You cannot tell me that doesn't sound exactly alike.
It gets better all the time.
Yeah, it does.
It leads us to the most important question. Which one's cuter, Dan?
All right, look, I can't bring up the Wicked Witch of the West ever because you guys are going to keep reminding me of that ill-fated monologue.
Well, it won't be so much us. It's the super texters.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
I need to be reminded since I wasn't here. Anybody would like to refresh me?
No, really, I wouldn't, Joan. One time I said.
One time he stepped out on the diving board.
One time.
Jumped off.
Hit my head on the diving board.
No water, huh?
No water.
And no water. No, I happened to say one time that when I was younger.
Yeah.
That I thought the Wicked Witch. I can't even say it. The Wicked Witch was cute.
You said hot.
Did you mean the Wicked Witch
yes.
or the
yes,
one?
Joan, the green one with the pointy nose.
The green one without. In fact, she looked better with the makeup on. Poor woman.
Wow.
She was not a pretty.
Listen, all I'm saying is when I was younger, I thought she looked like a hot librarian. But I don't know why.
But the best part was Ken Weaver that thought the woman was played by a man.
And then in the middle of that segment, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm Googling to make sure that at least, because you ever do this where it might be just a me thing where I say things and then I realize I've really stepped in it. And so I spent the rest of that segment.
Just you.
So thank you, Joan. So I spent the rest of that segment trying to dial the whole thing back. And the more that I tried to dial it back, the further in I jumped.
Yeah, baby.
So anyway.
Hot librarian look, huh?
I did. I used to have a thing for moving on.
Wow. This is so much more about you that I probably should have known before I said I'd work here.
Anyway, moving right along.
But the rest of her speech there, Gwen Waltz, she sounds like just a demented kindergarten teacher. The way she's running through how they're going to do we're doing an arm motion, guys.
Yeah,
we're doing an arm motion to
like,
turn the page.
Turn the page is what she said.
So me and Johnny thought that this sounded more like a Howard Dean moment. What do you think about that, Chris?
That's what it sounded like. And plus another, turn the page. Hell, we turned the page 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
See,
we should have left the book right where it was.
That's what we're talking. I mean, so they come up with these slogans, and as poorly performed as they are, turn the page. She sounds like Barney Fife, actually, a little bit too.
Yeah.
But anyway, they don't make any sense from a political standpoint because Donald Trump hasn't been in office in 4 years.
It seems like something they came up with a focus group. Like all of these things seem like they're focus groups.
Pretty dumb focus group.
Yeah, honestly.
kidding.
Well, they would be Democrats.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Maybe it's some Republicans like pulling a fast one on them.
Trolling them in their own focus group.
Wouldn't that be funny? Like
that actually would be
for
funny.
either side to do that. Like I don't know.
Well, my wife right now is participating in some groups like this.
Is she?
And when she was thrown out of one because she kept saying that she aligned with Donald Trump, and they said they threw her off of it. Okay, well you're off.
See, I thought that if I ever get called for jury duty, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that I'm a supporter of Donald Trump and you need to kick me off. Like, you think that would work?
Well, the first part would, but if you say you need to kick me off, no.
Oh.
It depends on what the case is for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know.
Yeah, we got a guy that robbed a bank. Well, I'm a supporter of Donald Trump.
You need to kick me off now.
That's very funny. All right, so Johnny, you said you had something. Actually, this is really interesting. I'm trying to keep away from the whole Wicked Witch of the West thing coming back.
Well,
so unless you have something, who had something next?
Well,
Johnny?
I brought the ice cream.
Go ahead.
You brought the ice cream. I brought the kumquat. Go ahead.
Well, I don't have the story in front of me anymore because I didn't think we were going to.
Hey, did you see what happened with Jane's Addiction?
Yes, that's what the story is.
So
about.
their singer, Perry Farrell,
Yes.
got in a fight with their guitar player,
Dave Navarro,
like right on stage.
On stage?
Yes.
On
During a
stage, they
concert?
got in a fight.
Yes, they did.
Now, do you know what the fight was about, Johnny?
I don't.
The fight was actually about, if I were Perry Farrell, I'd be a little upset too, because the mix was bad.
Oh, well, you see, guitar
And so-
players are notorious for being too noisy.
That's exactly right. So Perry Farrell, the singer of Jane's Addiction, got in a fight with the guitar. They actually got in fisticuffs on the stage.
Yeah, I saw the video going viral.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, Dave Navarro tries to keep it civil.
He does.
Now, Perry Farrell was the one that was throwing punches and getting violent on stage.
Well, I've heard Perry Farrell sing. I'd rather hear the guitar.
Yeah, I'd rather hear Dave Navarro myself, Dan.
Really?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm thinking more for Dave.
Did they get back to doing the show?
No.
So Dave Navarro and the bass player and the drummer all came out and took a bow, but Perry Farrell was nowhere to be found.
No, they even shook hands with some audience members as well. So,
But once the singer bails, it's like, what are you going to do?
yeah,
There's nothing
it's
you
over.
can do.
Unless you want to play some, instrumental music.
You ever see bands fight on stage?
No.
You ever seen that?
I was at the iHeart Music Festival, the second one where Billy Joel Armstrong went
Were you there
on
that night? I was there that night too.
Really?
Okay, so just so everybody knows, Chris Hand just gave me you were there look. Yeah, I was there.
Well,
I took my daughter.
Taylor Swift did perform that weekend.
She did. I was there the night that Billy Joe, whatever his name is, Green Day, destroyed his guitar.
Yep.
I think Lil Wayne was there that night as well. Where were you? I didn't see you.
I was in the nosebleeds.
Oh, so was I.
Well, and Prince was there with Mary J. It was a wild show.
It was a long show. Did you make it all the way through to the end?
I did. I started walking out with everybody else when Rihanna came on.
Oh my God! I walked out. I started walking out when Rihanna came on.
Yeah,
I was like,
everybody did. I felt kind of bad for her.
I said to my wife, or my daughter, I said, because my wife didn't go. I said, ex-wife didn't go. Jesus. So I said, to my daughter, I cannot sit here and watch this. No. Do you mind if we go? She said, I thought you'd never ask. And off we went.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a lot for Rihanna. Yeah. I almost saw David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen get into it. I'm surprised they didn't. It was in Birmingham, and some woman had thrown a brassiere on stage.
Oh.
David holds it up, and he goes, oh, wow, this is a big one. Said, definitely not Val's, is it, Ed? And
oh, my God.
Yeah. I thought, we're going to see a fight on stage. Yeah, the look was not good from Eddie.
Well, that sounds like something David Lee Roth would do.
Oh, yeah.
Rude.
That got awkward. Okay.
Yeah, it did.
So,
sorry, I thought that was very
Want to talk about
funny.
kumquats?
Yeah.
So here's the funny thing in my mind. I was telling Chris this off the air. So I'm talking about kumquats. I talk about throwing a kumquat. This is how this show goes. I'm talking about Tim Waltz and him talking about, talk to people in the grocery store about whether or not they voted or not, and especially like in the produce aisle, which is silly because everybody's paying a lot more money.
Right.
So I said, if somebody asked me that, if Tim Waltz asked me that, I'd throw a kumquat at him.
Yep.
Joan, of course, said, excuse me. So then I go into the bathroom and I'm standing there and I'm thinking, is a kumquat really a thing? Like I started this is what happens in my head. Like, oh my God, a kumquat is a real fruit, right? And so I hightailed it back in here and I Googled and thanked the gods, thank the kumquat gods. There is actually a kumquat.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, I understand the Wicked Witch of the West really liked them.
Now it's full circle.
It is. We've gone full circle. It sounds like a perfect time to end this segment before I end my political career or a broadcasting career. I think I need to go. What's coming up, Chris, please?
Well, Trump assassination attempt 2, electric boogaloo. We're going to break all that down. Plus, Susan Crabtree from Real Clear Politics is going to be joining the show at 9:35 to discuss the latest that she's hearing from her Secret Service sources. We have Kamala Harris's second interview. Yes, she's had as many interviews as Trump has had assassination attempts. Oh. Plus, J.D. Vance versus Dana Bash.
Did you say electric boogaloo?
Electric boogaloo. Yeah.
What is that?
It's just what you do. It's the second one, so it's the electric boogaloo version. You never heard that on the internet?
No, I haven't.
It's there.
Joni, you ever heard that?
I have heard electric boogaloo, but I didn't know what it means, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Johnny, you ever hear that?
I've heard of cowboy boogaloo, but no.
It's assassination attempt 2, electric boogaloo.
All right, well, I'm going to boogaloo out of here.
It's a cool word. Boogaloo is a cool word.
Yes, it is.
It's like kumquat.
And then you...
Sorry.
And then you put the word electric in front of it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's out of...
We're making assassination attempts great again.
Well, they sure are popular. Coming up in the news, a Tennessee congressman points the finger of blame at the Secret Service for yesterday's assassination attempt. Also, politics seeping into a big award show last night. Those stories coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:54, Nashville's Morning News. And I want to tell you about my friends at Moon Valley Nursery. I'm in the middle of a great backyard makeover, and I know the value of updating and upgrading your backyard. Moon Valley Nurseries can help you if you've been thinking about it, too. Now, think about what you would want in your perfect backyard. Then check them out online at moonvalleynurseries.com. That's moonvalleynurseries.com. You can actually add a ton of livable space to your home. When you do this, not to mention increase the value of your home. If you're not quite sure what you need, but you know that you need something, get a free design consultation from Moon Valley Nurseries, moonvalleynurseries.com. You can prepare for any backyard event, big or small. They can help you by creating the perfect setting for anything, big or small. So check them out online. They like to say, we create the yard, you create the memories. They are here to help you. moonvalleynurseries.com. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. moonvalleynurseries.com.